Turn So, yeah, no, I already seen how much, like, I was just about to ask, from your end, what can you see in my background, because I was going to...
We're perfect. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you like the little jazzed up section there for you. Hope you enjoyed the little music. Hope you enjoyed the little waiting room. You know, me and Danny had some, we actually had to take the Browns to the Super Bowl for the first time, and that was on Danny's end. So thank Danny, everybody from Cleveland. Let's give him a round of applause. He took the Browns to where they needed to be. Fuck Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, move over. Danny Gilbert. Party Charlie. In the house. I'm DJ Ragnar. Welcome, guys. We're going to jump right into it for you. We're going to go right to the Miami versus 76ers for the NBA playoffs. Now, when we left you, it was 3-2. Game 6 in Philly. And we all know who won that. Danny, what was the score of that?
The final score of that was 99-90.
All right, so great defensive game from the fourth best overall team, the Miami Heat. They owned them in the paint, 62-48. Edged them on fast break points. You know, both of them are not really fast break teams. I mean, they score when they get the opportunity for it.
They shoot well.
Yeah, they shoot well. Bench points, Miami actually outscored Miami 22-18.
Yeah.
Turnover.
It's like, where were the Sixers, man? Like, it's like, where the... Alright. Fuck, where were the Sixers? Where the fuck was James Harden? I think he attempted 2 shots in the entire second half.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's uncalled for. I mean, you can't play like that. And they were home.
I wouldn't say can't play like that.
You can't play like that. Come on, man.
You can't play like that.
You're James fucking Harden, and your team is in the playoffs. You can't fucking play like that. You can't. You won't win. Obviously.
I mean, he did his thing as an assist. You know, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, not bad for him. 1 steal. Yeah, I mean, so ideally you were looking for another 2 steals. 4 turnovers. It's not bad. So he protected the ball majority of the night, but the 11 points, that's Like we talked about it weeks prior. If they had any chance to win this fucking series, Harden had to produce, and he only produced in one game. That's not gonna cut it. It's not. You know, I think they would have been better off with the players that they had before the trade. You know what I mean? Because they would have had a little bit more depth, Curry and a couple of guys, so it would have helped. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't have had that lack of production.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but if you got two guys putting up 11 points, it's better than just one guy putting up 11 points.
Yeah, but it's still very lackluster. It's just like
they're more of a deeper team. Once they made that trade for Harden, they became less deep. You know, they traded a couple pieces, Seth Curry, and I forget who else, but they traded that. You know what I mean? So you got less deep, and
older.
And older, yeah, and had to pay more out of pocket. That's got to be the fucking kicker right there. 100%.
It was obviously an all or nothing chance that they were taking on Harden to him be the guy that they could pair with Embiid to be like, yeah, take this all the way. No.
I mean, in the beginning of the season, it looked okay, but then it slowly fell apart. Like there was no chemistry. You know what I mean? And even Embiid saying throughout the season and even in the playoffs, like, oh, you got to be more aggressive, like you were in Houston. But he said, realistically, we knew we weren't. That's not the James Harden we're gonna get. You know.
So why were you making the trade? What the fuck are you expecting to get from him? What did you want from him?
They wanted the 20. They wanted the 29-5, or the 28-5. That, I mean, realistically, if he put up every game 20 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 4 turnovers. You know, you can't be like, oh, it's James's fault.
No.
People be like, well, hell no, it ain't my fucking fault. I did my fucking part.
And it's not like we can put all the blame on him in general. I mean, you got to figure Embiid was out for the first 2 games, so
there's a lot of pressure there. You know what I mean?
There were other factors, but
yeah, but here's the thing: now that Embiid was off the court, James Harden could have ran that offense the way he saw fit. You're the main ball handler. You can take your shots now. Your unwarranted 3-point shots, you know.
Yeah.
Go for the gusto. And he didn't. I think what was game 3 or 4 he put up that 31?
Something like that. And then it was funny. It was after one of those games, I was listening to the guys after the game and they were like, oh yeah, you know, when it comes to Harden, it's like, if he's going to drive to the hole, you know, he can't be, you know, 3, 4, 5 steps and then go for it, you know, because he's not that kind of player anymore. He has to, like, you know, within the first 2 steps and then attack or whatever. And then one of the next games, he did what they were saying, where he took like 4 or 5 steps and then he fucking ended up turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Like,
unwarranted.
I don't know if he's done, or I don't know if he just needs to go to a new team, but he just wasn't right this he hasn't been right for a while, actually.
He has. I mean, the year where Kyrie was hurt and Durant was hurt, I mean, he was there every night. He was putting up them buckets. You know, then the next year, you know, Durant comes back and Irving's kind of, you know, there but not there, you know, whatever the COVID situation was for him. You know what I mean? So he balled out. I mean, he, like, I don't want this all to be about James Harden, because it is a team game, but a vital piece that you wasted money on,
And prospects and other players.
exactly, should pan out to some degree.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know the future. Say next year, you know, he stays, you know, and they work him in the offense a little bit more, and he, you know, he just plays better, you know, who knows. But, I mean, that last game by Philly, to have 13 turnovers and then give up 22 points off those turnovers, that's not going to help you.
No.
Miami had 12. They only gave up 13 points off their turnovers. You know, they shot 48% from the field and they shot 25% from three-point land. That's why it hasn't, like, if they were the number 1 team in the league in shooting threes all season, okay, as a team. Now, here's my thing. They're not shooting the 3 as well This is why Philly kind of made it close and had a chance. Because if they shot to their 3-point potential, this game was probably a 108-90, a 110-90 game.
Yeah.
You know? Philly shot decent from the field, 41%. 3% they shot better, 32.
You know, like that's what I'm saying. It's like outside of, getting out rebounded and the points in the paint, the game still was kind of fairly close. I mean, you only lost by 9. So not even Harden, but if somebody else has an extra 10 points.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's where the trade hurt. So now you have, like I say you have Harden's 11, right? So exclude him. Reverse the trade. Their 2 players that they traded, including with Ben Simmons and whatever, right? 11 and 11. You may win the game by 2 points.
Yeah.
Or it may tie and go to overtime.
No, you're right. Definitely would have a different impact.
I mean, Philly, Tobias Harris, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. Average game.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, he contributed. I won't say he didn't. Embiid, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 steals. Maxey, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 4 turnovers. Right? So they had a problem with keeping the ball secure and the points off of it. We know that, like I said. Harden's 11, 4, 9, 1, and 4 doesn't help. Shake Milton, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. So they had production. But they needed... So I'm going to put the blame on it in an equal fashion. It's some of Tobias Harris's fault, and it is some of James Harden's fault.
Yeah.
Philly moved on from fucking Jimmy Butler because they believed in fucking Tobias Harris. So, 14 points ain't gonna cut it either. So if we're gonna blame, we're gonna share the blame here, and it's definitely Harden and Harris.
I think it was last week's episode, or the episode before that. I think one of my hated or love it's was what if Jimmy had stayed in Philly?
I think we'd be talking about Philly 100% different.
Definitely, but Miami, honestly, Miami probably wouldn't even be in the playoffs right now.
No, they would. They'd probably be in the finals.
You think so?
Yeah.
Without Jimmy?
No, with Jimmy.
That's what I'm saying. So if Jimmy was on the Sixers still, Miami probably wouldn't even be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, we'd be talking about the Sixers in a different light, and they'd probably be in the Eastern Conference Finals right now.
Yeah, against Boston. Jimmy, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers. PJ Tucker, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. Adebayo, I want to see more scoring from him, from the next series. And we'll get to the, last night's game after we get through this.
Yeah.
10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers. Strauss, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers. Harrow, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. So, they played very good defense. Jimmy stepped up because Jimmy had to. And they got their numbers from their entire team. I mean, they played well.
That's total team effort.
Effort. And
Jimmy's going to do his thing and put up 30-plus points when he has to, but it's like, even at 28 and he leads the team, it's still a complete total team effort. Because he'll have 28, 2 other guys have 20, and then everyone else is hovering around 15, 16, 17.
Or those 2 guys they hover around 16, 18. The rest of them hover around 10 plus, 10, 15, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have solid guys. Now, what I had written for the last game of this series was Jimmy likes to advance. Jimmy can take over whenever he wants. Jimmy's the man. Well, Jimmy had enough of the 76ers and sent them home.
Yeah.
Good year for the 76ers, but the trade for Harden really played a factor. Scoring 11 points and, like you said, 2 shots in the second half.
Backfired on them.
It did. They got production from what was around them for the best of their abilities. But it's not enough playing against the Heat team like that. Yeah, they shot bad from three. That's why it looked like it could have been contentious. Like, it could have been close, potentially.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. So they moved on. Now we're going to move on to the Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies.
Fucking Warriors, man.
Now, game 5, we're going to run through it a little quick.
I'm just tired of fucking looking at them, man.
Now, game 5, we thought it was over, right?
For sure.
3-1
was
Warriors, you know. Game 5 was simple. Before we get into the stats, the Warriors thought they could just run in there, run right through them without Ja Morant, and move right on.
But it's like, how does that happen? How do you win by that much in Game 5 without Ja Morant?
Well, all right, but now this is gonna blossom into our the conversation right here, essentially. Okay. Memphis, right? Like I said, they're young, and to help Ja, they need to step up, right? Now, especially without Ja, you have to step up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we just got a taste of what Memphis could potentially be if everybody on that lineup, when they have Ja Morant, is firing on all cylinders, right?
Absolutely.
Because they came out and they absolutely punched him. They punched Golden State right in the fucking mouth. I don't care what anybody says. They took them by the collar and rocked them right in the jaw.
It's like, if you compare that game to what the Mavs did to the Suns in Game 7, that fucking that Memphis game was a bigger, because they didn't have their star player.
Yeah, so that's a bigger, like, oh shit, in the future, if they can get it right, the players that they keep around, this is going to be a scary team, even with Morant, even without Morant. Right?
100%.
So now, the Warriors just right off the dick, they weren't expecting to get punched in the mouth like that. I'm just, you're not expecting it. They're expecting, all right, we're just going to come in here, we're going to roll through these guys, we're going to go home, get some rest, and then whoever's up next, we're going to spank them.
Yep.
Right? And before I get to the team stats, I'm just going to get right to Memphis' stat line right here. Brooks, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Jackson Jr., 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers. Bane, 21 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals. Jones, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals. Williams, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover. Clark, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Melton, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Through the 7 of them, there was 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
And 20, 60, 63, 75, 75 and 32. Through the 7 of them, they scored about 112 points by themselves. And now you know the way I keep stats and the way we keep stats. If you don't score more than 10, unless you're doing something else, you're not getting on the board.
Yeah.
Right? So, before we get to the lackadaisy Warriors in Game 5, I'll give you the team stats. So, points in the paint, Memphis owned 50-36. Fast break points, 16-9, they own them. Bench points, 52-35. Turnovers, 9 turnovers. They only let up 10 points off those turnovers. Golden State had 22 turnovers and let up 29 points. Now, field goal percentage. Memphis shot 47.5. Warriors shot 45. So it wasn't that big of a difference. 3-point. Memphis shot 43.9. Golden State shot 35.9. So, team-wise, you see the gap. Right? You don't even have to look at the final score. You see a gap there. You see, holy shit, somebody got the piss kicked out of them. Now, I'm going to run through the Warriors real quick. Kuminga, 17, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover. Green, 5 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 5 turnovers. Thompson, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. Curry, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers.
That's a bad game.
Damon Lee, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 turnover. Nothing. They did nothing. Nothing. Granted, Kuminga and Thomas slightly came to play, but that's unacceptable. Just straight up, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like I said,
From a veteran Warrior team like that, yeah, definitely.
now we know their attitude. You know, they came into the building. It's like you all right, like Minnesota last year when they played the Cowboys, and we had what's his name, Cooper Rush or whatever the fuck his name was, right?
Okay, yeah, that quarterback.
You guys thought you were gonna run us out of the building, and rightfully so. But they came to play, and it's like that's a big shit. I wasn't expecting that. It's literally like getting punched in the face, like a random punch in the face. Like you're just hanging out with your friends, and somebody's just like, "Ma." You're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What'd you punch me for? Because I'm here. Now.
Embarrassing.
Yes, it's embarrassing, but the bounce back was better. Game 6. Now, I'll run through the stat line of team, and you'll see the difference from 5 to 6.
No, there was definitely a difference. I mean, you just flipped the switch. It went from Memphis to now Golden State. Memphis, in Game 6, the Warriors controlled every one of those categories. Rebounds, points in the paint, fast break points, and all that stuff.
Besides bench points?
And they had 17 turnovers in Game 6.
And they only let up 18 points over turnovers. So they had a sense of urgency in Game 6. They're like, all right, we're going to turn the ball over. We have to play transition defense and have a stop.
But look at how well Dylan Brooks played in that game. 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. I was watching that, and I'm like...
3 steals, 1 block, and only 1 turnover.
I'm like, yo, can he lead them? Him and Bane, can they lead them to Game 7?
Yeah,
and there was a point in that game where I'm like, maybe. It might be possible.
It looked like
you saw the final minutes of the game, you saw just Golden State just, nope, not happening. They just pulled away.
Well, that's what makes a championship team. You don't lose a game that you're supposed to win, right? And then everything just crumbles.
Yeah.
Right? They understood their task. You know, all right, hey, we got punched in the mouth. That was round 1, as in sense of like a boxing terminology. Well, guess what? I'm ready for round 2. Are you?
Right.
And Memphis, you know, Brooks, 30 points, like you said. Jackson, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks. Bane, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. But that was it. That was it. That whole list of players that I named before, 4 out of 7 of them shit the bed again.
Yeah.
Right? But they had an attitude in that Game 5 to come out, right, and punch them in the mouth.
You think they shot their whole load in Game 5?
Yeah, I think they did. I think they did
because
because
they could have saved some for Game 6 and then still won Game 5 and then maybe would have been able to take it to 7.
Yeah, and then possibly Morant could have been back, but I mean, yeah, essentially they shot themselves in the foot. Like I like what you like that point that you made because you put everybody out there. So now Golden State gets those 2 days to study film and make adjustments, and Steve Kerr made the adjustments. You know what I mean? So they weren't getting the same looks and the same shots. Points in the paint way different. Warriors got it 36-34. Fast break 23-15. Bench points, Memphis went 18-15.
They out-rebounded the shit out of them. 70-44, plus 26. Like, what? Like, damn. Like, that's... yeah, like, look, the Warriors were only plus 2 at points in the paint. But they out-rebounded them like a motherfucker. It's just...
Yeah, they did own the paint. Wiggins had 18 points, 11 rebounds. He had a double-double. 1 steal, 3 blocks, 2 turnovers. Now, I want to talk about that.
Wiggins?
Yeah, Wiggins. You know what I mean? He's not the star that we all thought he was going to be, but he's a solid fucking player, man.
He is.
He puts his numbers up. You know what I mean? So it's like, if he were to go somewhere else, I wouldn't say he'd be a star because you need, like, where I'd like to actually see Wiggins play? In Minnesota, with the Timberwolves.
He was in Minnesota at one point, wasn't he?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe so. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Green, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists. That's what you're ideally looking from, Draymond. 1 steal, 4 turnovers. Thompson, I've been saying it since, last round against the Pelicans.
What?
Who did Golden State play last round? They played the Pelicans, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Right? No, they played. Yeah, they played. No. That was. They didn't play the Pelicans. They played.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check the bracket right now. Give me a second. They played the Nuggets.
All right. They ran through them. I mean, if the Nuggets had Jamal Murray, it may have been a different series. I apologize for forgetting. And I said back then, like Thompson, if they wanna compete for a championship and get it done, he's got to be that X factor. Now, 30 points, you went up above and beyond. 30 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 3 turnovers.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins was with the Timberwolves. He got drafted by them 2014 to 2020.
Okay. All right. Actually, I'd love to see him back on there because he would have been a great piece. I don't know why they let him go. You know what I mean? He'd have been a great piece in that team this year.
Milwaukee. Him and Giannis with Middleton.
Nah, I don't. I think them two, and the way their offenses work, I think they demand too much attention. Yeah, I mean, and too much attention as in for the ball.
Right.
In the Warriors is a happy-go-lucky, swing the ball around all around the court. You know what I mean? Because they have 3-point shooters, so it's just like fucking swing it, dude.
Yeah.
Curry, 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers. Jordan Poole took a break this game. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers. I mean, he contributed. So, what was the end score of that game?
Game 6, 110-96 Warriors.
So it wasn't a complete blowout.
No, like I said, there was a point where, like I said, I was watching it, and it's like, you could believe that, wait, they might have just enough to at least get in the 7. And they wouldn't win it, but to at least make it a little more interesting. Because then, like you said, what if Morant came back for Game 7? Oh,
yeah.
Now we're really fucking
Now we may have a slugfest on our hands. You know
like
what I mean?
Game 1.
Yeah.
So
Game 1 and Game 2. Almost
I
every game.
I would say more Game 1 because Game 1 really was like the edge of your seat. Like, oh yeah, this is good stuff. This is good TV.
All right. So now we're gonna move on to the debauchery of what is a debauchery, and that would be the Mavericks versus the Suns series. Like we talked about it, it went 2-2. The night that we had the show, I believe Phoenix had won, which they did their job. They played a solid game. They got contribution from everybody, all around, and won. So we go to Game 6 at the Mavs. Now the Suns owned in the paint, 44-34. Right? But the Mavs put the slapping on them in the fast break points, 21-8. And then 31 bench points to the Suns 17. Now, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Payne, and these other guys, and Crowder's doing his best. Crowder's old, but Crowder gives you a sense of leadership and defensive presence. So
yeah.
His position is warranted to be there. But the rest of these guys, these role players, they got jack shit from. All series. And then the Suns had 22 turnovers and let up 29 points off those turnovers. To the Mavs, 6 turnovers and they're 9 points off turnovers.
Yeah.
The Mavs shot 45% from the field and 41 from 3. To Phoenix's 39.7, so 40%. They didn't shoot terrible.
So both teams still relatively shot the ball well.
Yes. Now, Dallas responded in Game 6 like they have responded at home all series long. and in the previous series. They played great defense and great all-around team ball, getting contributions from everybody they needed. While, like I said, the Suns bench has just been lost this whole series.
Yeah.
Like, lost. I don't understand what was going on, because last year that team was firing on all cylinders.
Not even that, but it just looked like, even in the games that they won, I think it was game 1 or game 2, they scored 129 points. Even in that game, through the whole series, it doesn't even look like they played with any urgency at all. Like, oh, we're just gonna coast. Like, oh yeah, like we can just, how we were there last year. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, like no,
Well,
like
I mean, they know they're that good to get there, right? So I understand that ignorance. I understand that ignorance. But you're right about the sense of urgency. But as a coach and just as a locker room, you have to step up. And it's not just step up with points.
everything.
Be a
Defense,
contributor
rebound,
in other aspects.
not turning the ball over. They had 2 games back to back where they had 17 plus turnovers.
Exactly. All right.
And that's at the back end of the series.
Yeah. If we like now as a coach, if you're like, all right, if we cut it in half, we got a shot, because that's an issue right there. I mean, that's an issue right there. So they do that and get a little bit more production from their role players. It could have been a different series. It could have been.
Could have been.
It could have been. Now, granted, it went 7.
But even at that, I just don't know if you were going to stop Dallas in Game 7. They were fucking, like, on point. Like,
Yeah, but the question, like what I wrote, is now could Dallas finally go to the Valley and actually win a game? They've lost all 3 of their games in the Valley, right? Now at home, Game 6, Bullock, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. Brunson, 18 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 steals. Doncic, 33, 11, 8 assists, 4 steals, 1 turnover. Kleber, solid player, 9 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 turnover. Dinwiddie, 15 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. They played solid team ball.
yes.
Luka was the focal point of it, but everybody contributed. And I've been calling for that since they went down 2-0. If they want to survive, they got to start. You gotta start distributing the ball.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it goes all the way around the chains and still goes to Luka, and he scores.
That's the ball some more.
It's still ball movement. It's an extra pass. Now,
But like you were saying, it's a valid question. Could they go on the road and do that in Game 7?
well, I'm gonna give you the Suns Game 6 stats, and then we'll go into Game 7. Crowder, 9 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover. Bridges, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers. That's got to be better.
That's not yet, like...
Ayton finally showed up. 21 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Booker, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block.
That's not enough from Booker.
8 turnovers. 8 turnovers. By himself. Chris Paul, 13 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 turnovers. No assist, and the turnovers, and a lackluster performance of points. They played like shit that night. Dallas played good defensively, and everybody scored.
Yeah.
So now we move to Game 7, which I don't know why we're gonna talk about the stats here, but I guess we'll talk about the stats.
It was a total fucking annihilation. Bro.
Dallas, 40 points in the paint. Suns, 38. That's right there. You knew you played a bad game when you have DeAndre Ayton and you're getting outscored in the paint. Fast break points, Dallas 3, Suns 9. Bench points, Dallas 48, Suns 53. Dallas 11 turnovers, Suns 12. Points over turnovers for Dallas was 13, Suns had 15. Dallas field goal percentage 56.8. Good God. 3-point percentage 48.7. That's another holy fuck.
Dude, they shot 100% from the free throw line. They made all their free throws that night. Whether it was 12 or 26, they made all their free throws that night. They couldn't miss a shot even if they were blindfolded, man. I'm telling you. They were white hot that
Well, the Suns were definitely blindfolded because they only shot 37.9 from the field and 35 from three. Right? So, let's just go right into these stats for the Suns before we get to Dallas. Ayton was in foul trouble early. I understand that. You don't want him to foul out. You don't want him in foul trouble. So you have to sit him for a little bit in the first half. Right? He had 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. That shouldn't happen. That should not happen. Booker, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers. Paul, 10 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal. Cameron Johnson, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
And he was your point leader.
Yeah, he was your point leader.
Do you realize?
And those stats are padded. Those stats are fucking padded because the fourth quarter.
Not even that, but do you realize, or does anybody at home realize that watched the game or is listening or watching now? Nobody had more than 15 points. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, how about this? In the second quarter, Luka had 27 points, right? By the half, or like by the half, he had 27 points, right? In the second quarter, Phoenix had 27 points. Luka had 27 points by himself.
Like, do you see? Did you see that one play where at the top of the 3-point line, at the top of the key or whatever it was, he fucking made that one dude look fucking broke his ankles and then just fucking
and just fucking.
I mean, he just stood there like you know I'm great. Come on, man. Like, get out of my way, little boy.
Now, whichever way you want to cut it, the Suns just sucked more than a girl on her first spring break in Miami. That's whatever way you want to cut it. That's the way I seen it. That's a lot of sucking. And the Mavs were ready for their moment, and their 3 stars took full advantage of it, and they waved bye-bye to the Suns, and they welcomed them to a complete team blow-up. Brunson, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Doncic, 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers. Dinwiddie, 30 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, no turnovers.
I think they're gonna ride this momentum into the
89
next round.
89 points between the 3 of them. Now nobody else broke like 10, but
dude, 89 points between the 3 of them. The Suns only had 90 total. So even on just those 3 alone, they still could have won the game
by themselves.
Yes,
by themselves. Holy shit! Holy shit! You're telling me so the Mavs they could have just played them 3 versus the entire Suns team, and they would have.
Essentially, if you look at it.
No, we'll just all right. So the 3 versus the 4. You know, the four players I gave stats to, and then the 3 players I gave stats for the Mavs. You know what I mean? Those 3 versus those 4 stats, and it's 89 to 16, 26, 38. It's 89 to 38.
This is a fucking joke, man. Like,
it's not even a joke. How do you implode? That's an implosion.
At home.
Jason Kidd outcoached the fuck out of Monty Williams. And congrats to Monty Williams for winning Coach of the Year. He deserved it. They had a great regular season.
Yeah.
But postseason, they got tested, and Dallas lost the first 2 games. They made their adjustments, right? And won. He got outcoached. Sorry, he got outcoached.
You gotta figure, they were down 2-0, so there's 5 games left in the series. They won 4 out of the last 5.
You got outcoached
nice
and
job,
outplayed.
Jason Kidd. Good job.
Great job. Great job. Now, we'll talk about that later. The game is gonna be on by 8:30.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I hope they can roll that momentum.
I hope, because Golden State is a problem, unfortunately.
Yes.
But
it is, and it's a big problem. Big problem. So now we're gonna go back to the Boston versus the Bucks.
Oh man. this is a disappointing
Now
series.
this series did have a pattern. Milwaukee won game 1. Boston won game 2. Milwaukee won game 3. Boston won game 4. Milwaukee won game 5. Boston won game 6.
And 7.
Wait, you're a cocksucker for that. You couldn't wait for the fucking build up, you bitch. You know, dive into game 6, edge into it. Levels, Jerry. There's fucking levels. Levels, Jerry. I'm telling you, levels.
Well,
We'll get some throw pillows.
Alright, so take it away with game 6 then.
Alright, so Boston, they got owned in the paint 34-48. 6 fast break points to Bucks 15. 15 bench points to the Bucks 21. 8 turnovers, giving up 10 points off those 10 overs. Bucks had 10 turnovers, giving 8 points off those turnovers. Boston had a 43.7 field goal percentage, and they shot 39.5 from 3-point. Bucks shot 40.9 from the field and 24.1 from 3-point. What I had written down is the Bucks yet again can't get more from their team to edge out the series against Boston at home. Now, as Tatum had a huge game and the 2 other stars chimed in with a combined 43 points, so game 7 to Boston, can Giannis, without Middleton, survive game 7 and with his supporting cast? Now, they barely got production from Portis. Drew Holiday had a okay series. Brooke Lopez up and down series.
It wasn't a complete effort from the whole team.
No, they gave effort. They were in every game.
Like one game they were there, like the next game it's like.
I think Middleton really hurt them in game 6. Just it like not even game 6. Him not being there hurt them the whole time. This is a different series. It really is if Chris Middleton's there.
When did he go down? Game 2?
No, he went down before that.
The last series, right?
The last series he went down.
Right.
It was an MCL sprain, right? I think.
Yeah, I thought he was going to make it back in time for this series, but...
Now...
Or at least halfway through.
Tatum finally showed up. 46 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 4 turnovers. Great game. Jaylen Brown, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers. Solid game from him. Marcus Smart, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. White, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Now the Bucks, Giannis just being the greatest player on earth right now, the fucking Greek god. 44 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 6 turnovers, a little high. But it's his show, you know. Holiday, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. Connaughton, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Everybody else was non-existent.
Yeah.
Just non-existent. And it's like, you're not asking for the world like these other teams are. Like Dallas is asking the world of those other, like those role players, Bullock, Dinwiddie, Brunson, and they're asking the world from these guys. And they're delivering. You're just asking, hey, can somebody cover like 15, 16 points a game? Because if you can cover that, we can fucking win.
I mean, it's almost, I was thinking like, how can a championship team play like this or get that lack of production? But
well, you got to think, PJ Tucker.
They just couldn't do it this year.
Yeah, but you got to think, PJ Tucker, they let go of him, right? He went to Miami. He plays with Miami now. He's a good 3-point shooter, and he plays really good defense. So you're missing that aspect, and now Chris Middleton goes down. That's the big key. You know, if they had PJ Tucker, I think they would have had a little bit more fighting chance, and they may have closed one of these games out to move on. You know?
Right.
But Middleton, that 20 points a game.
Huge.
It's huge. And it even shows in Game 7, you know? The Bucks own the paint again, 48-26. Fast break points, 17-8. And I was thinking about that too, because who did Boston play the last series?
One second.
Because I remember Boston was having a problem in that first series with fast break points.
Bucks, they played the Bulls in the first round.
I'm looking.
So that was the first round. That's what they played in the last series, in the last round.
Who did Boston play?
The Bulls. The Bucks.
No, who did Boston play last round?
They played the Nets.
Okay, the Nets yeah, but there was games where the Nets were blowing the doors off on Boston on fast break points. If I remember correctly, I may have not. But the Bucks had 17 fast break points and eight to Boston. 16 bench points to Boston's 23. That's just not going to cut it. 13 turnovers. They only let up 11 points off of them. Boston had 12 turnovers. They gave up 18 points. 36.7 from the field. It's about average. Maybe a little bit low. But 12.1 from three-point land. That's not good.
Yes.
And Boston shot 42 from the field and 40 from three-point. Lopez had a good game. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. Like, I don't understand why he wasn't a bigger focal point or in their offense because Chris Middleton's not out.
Yeah.
Holiday had another good game. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover.
But if Holiday and Brook and Lopez were firing on all cylinders with Giannis, they would have been able to get through this series. But because even with the Middleton injury, if the other two were playing like they should have, they still would have been able to get
you had Portis in the last game with 10.6 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers, and he's an energy guy. Where was his production, man? If they got a little bit more out of him, more out of Lopez, and they got what they got from Holiday, Giannis at that point is just fucking tired, man. 25 points, 20 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, the man was doing everything he could do to will them there.
Wasn't enough. And it was funny, I still thought Boston was going to advance in general, but, you go back to when the Mavs series started against the Suns, and then when the other series started, we were saying, "Oh, look, Luka can't do it by himself."
Yeah, but
and then look what happened. They ended up winning that series. And
because their role players stepped up.
No, that's what I'm saying. But just look at how the narrative just like that.
Yeah, but the only reason why I won't agree with you right there is because it's 2 different teams, 2 different players. The Mavs have everybody they need, right? There's no injuries.
Yeah.
The Bucks are a completely different team with Chris Middleton. They don't even have him, and they're still competing with Boston, who has all their players. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tatum put up 23 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 block, 7 turnovers. That's not good. And he's been shaky.
Yeah, but his game 6 got them there.
Yes, I'll give him that, right? But you didn't close it down in game 7.
No.
He shined in other departments. The 6 rebounds, 8 assists.
They still almost won by 30 though.
But the contribution from Williams for 27 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. Jaylen Brown, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 turnovers. Marcus Smart with a double-double. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers. And that little fucking sparky fucking white boy, Pritchard, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, with some huge threes in the end 4th quarter to keep the distance, the where it was. Now, we're going to cover game 1 right after we're done with this between Boston and the Heat. And I've been calling Jason Tatum out. Now, he's had these good games, right? And his team has played well. So I understand. It's the same thing almost as in Jimmy. When you got to take over, take over. But other than that, if everybody else is contributing, just play along with it. You know what I mean? Keep the ship steady.
Keep the line moving.
And I feel like sometimes he plays lazy, lackadaisically, doesn't care, wants to bitch and moan about the call rather than hike his ass up the fucking court.
And at times it does look like he's just like, eh.
and then there's times now he's doing all that while he'll score like the 23 points, right?
Yeah.
Or the 26. All right, and he'll have solid area, but there's times where he goes non-existent. Like I've been bitching about it for 2 weeks. Sorry, stars don't score 10 points, even on a bad day. It was a bad day. I scored 22. I should have had fucking 35 though. You know what I mean? In retrospect, that's a Kobe or a Michael Jordan mentality. I had 23, but I should have scored fucking 40 on the motherfuckers. I had a bad day. Well, you guys won by 2. Well, thank God for my fucking team. You know what I mean?
No, I agree, definitely, 100%.
Now, we're just going to roll right into this. You know what I mean? Miami and Boston. Game 1. First half, Boston was, I wouldn't say dominating. They were playing very well. They were playing very well through transition ball, and they were playing good in the paint, and they were getting production. Tatum, 21 points. Now, I'm just going to leave it at that at the half. Okay? And we all know how that third quarter went.
I mean, and I didn't know it, but while watching, or I think it was after the game, I had heard about, how good Miami plays a good third quarter historically, and then, well, they did that. So I was like, all right, well, then that wasn't a surprise to see, but...
No. Now, the first half of the game, though, was a battle that was won by the Celtics. They were great offensively and defensively with blocks, steals, transition points. It looked like the Celtics were on their way to a sure-handed, 10-point victory, but the second half was just a different story. Like you said, Miami adjusted.
It was really just that third quarter, because in the fourth quarter, the Celtics outscored the Heat 31-25. That third quarter, 39-14, is the outlier.
Yeah, but when you have that big of a lead, Danny, at that point, and Miami's a good enough team where they're like, yo, I just got to coast with you now at this point.
Yeah.
I dominated an entire quarter where you almost went 9 minutes, like, you went 9+ minutes almost without a bucket. You had 2 free throws. You know what I mean? Or like something of that nature. I think they almost went like 9 minutes without a bucket. But that third quarter was big and monstrous, like you said. Yeah. But Miami did adjust, and they adjusted great. They put so much pressure and intensity on both sides of the ball on Boston, and honestly, I know Boston outscored them by 6 points in the fourth.
In the fourth quarter, yeah.
Yeah. But they crumbled. That third quarter made Boston crumble. Yeah, you had a good fourth quarter, but Miami just kept doing, every time you got a little bit closer, they said, no, you stay there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Miami did whatever Miami wanted to do, and, I think it might have been before the half, or it might have been early third quarter before they started that run. I'm sitting here watching the game, and I'm like, damn, Miami needs to go on a run. Like, fucking Jimmy's got to step the fuck up and, take off. The fuck did he take off?
Yeah, all right.
That fucker took off like a rocket.
Before we get to Jimmy,
I'm just saying, that was just my thought at that point in the game. Miami's got to kick it around. It seems like they're playing a little, slush.
Jimmy just had to get aggressive. You know what I mean? Jimmy knew, all right, I got to get aggressive. And he did.
Yeah.
And so Boston had more bench points, 48-40. They had more fast break points, 19-13. This is all resulting probably from the first half, right? The Heat scored 34 bench points to Boston's 26. The Heat had 12 turnovers to Boston's 16. The Heat scored 17 off their turnovers, off of Boston turnovers, and Boston scored 19 off of Heat's turnovers. But at the half, Boston was shooting 50-some-odd% from the field. They were cooking, right? So at the end of the game, they shot 45.6. They almost dropped about 10, 12 points in percentage. And their three-point went down to 32.4. The Heat finished with a 48.7 field goal percentage and a 33.3 three-point percentage.
Yeah.
So that second half, even though that they got outscored, in that quarter, right, by 6 points, they still played to the level they needed to coast and win the game. You know, I said I was gonna stop it. Tatum had 21 points at the half. Great fucking half.
Going into the half, Boston, I think they were up like 12 or 13 points, and I'm sitting here like, ooh.
I think it was 10, I think it was 10 at the half.
Huh?
I think it may have been 10 at the half, maybe.
Still, but it was double digits. And I'm like, ooh, Boston came to play. Tatum was 21. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Nah.
if he kept up that pace, it'd have been hard for Miami to really win that game.
It would have been hard for Miami, but it would have just would have been a little bit more competitive. You know, maybe instead of losing by 11, maybe they lose by like, you know, it comes down
4.
to like final possession of the game.
All right.
Something like that.
Yeah, it could have. So Tatum had 29, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, 7 turnovers. What did I say? The last game he needed to fix. The lackadaisy passes. Williams, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. So he had a decent game. You know he wasn't going to put up no 20 again. Miami's not stupid enough to just let him shoot spot-up threes. They're not. They were the 4th best defensive team in the league.
Right.
Jaylen Brown had 24 points. He did his job. All right, I'll step. I'll give you the 24. I'll give you the 10 rebounds. I'll give you 3 assists, 1 steal. And I only turned the ball over twice. Pritchard, good game, but the Boston Celtics need to pick their moments when to put him in because Miami was bully balling him. Anybody that could spot him up 1-on-1 without ISO, he was getting bullied.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a defensive liability. He had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers. So a solid game from him, but on the defensive end, it's like his plus-minus differential is not good.
Right. So he needs to be coming in when the opposing team has their entire bench out there.
Yeah.
Where it's like he has a little bit more of a,
Or no. Like he needs to sub in with like all the starters, and he's the only guy off the bench that's out there. So you have a little bit like if he has Horford, Smart, Tatum.
So he has protection, so you're gonna focus on them. Where if he gets off into the corner or
yeah, but defensively he's okay too. So it's like you have leverage, you have bigger guys.
Right.
He you won't let them ISO. You'll rotate help. You'll come over help and force the pass.
Set up a pick and roll or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Now, I forget what Jimmy had at the half. Jimmy had I think 18 maybe, 16.
Something like that.
Jimmy does what Jimmy does.
Jimmy's the man.
Jimmy's the man. Jimmy's the man, and Jimmy's gonna get his.
Oh yeah.
And I've been saying it all along since we started covering the playoffs. And when you question him, a couple weeks ago, they're one dimensional. You know what I mean? Like, what's with Jimmy? He's still been averaging. He's still been averaging like 28 points in the playoffs, right? Well, he exploded for 41 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks, and 2 turnovers. Jimmy, people won't say he's a superstar because it's just not really his persona, I would say, or his play this season where people were saying he was playing passive. But why? The year that they went to the finals and he was in the bubble, he had exerted himself so much that when it came time for the finals, he was spent.
What year was that? Was
the
that
bubble
year
year.
they lost to the Lakers in the bubble?
Yeah, that was the bubble year. But you have to think, Danny, they didn't have the team that they have now back in the bubble. So it was all on Jimmy, right? Jimmy didn't have the best series, but I love how this is just all linking up like Seinfeld, like we're talking about Seinfeld. Like Jimmy didn't have it all, but Jimmy gave it his all. Jimmy didn't win, but Jimmy learned.
Right.
Now Jimmy has better team. Now Jimmy better. Jimmy don't have to exert himself no more.
Right.
Jimmy just gonna win. Jimmy have to take over. Jimmy take over.
Jimmy don't like miscommunications and misunderstandings. He used to have misunderstandings and miscommunications. Now we don't have it. Now it's just go.
Adebayo had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 blocks, 2 turnovers. Now I want to see. Now we know Jimmy's not now. If Jimmy explodes every game for 35 plus, then the Heat got a great shot to win this series, just let alone on his shoulders. But I want to see more offensive production from Adebayo. He's doing great on the defensive part. Like, he was second. A lot of people in the Heat would say, he was Defensive Player of the Year over Marcus Smart. But he was number 2. So he's playing great defensively. I love what he's giving defensively, but I want more offensively from him. Make them abuse them inside, so now it's more leverage for your other guards and your bench players to start getting more open looks, especially if he starts scoring 16 plus points a game with his upping his rebounds a little bit and his assists. Because he's like, as he starts attacking, he's going to get more rebounds offensive, and he's going to get chances for more assists. So I hope he gets more aggressive, because if he gets more aggressive, and the rest of the team scores like they did, Strauss 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover. Vincent 17 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, 1 turnover. Harrow, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers. And I'm going to say it right now, Harrow was 6th man of the year. He needs to go into that rotation. He needs to be in starting rotation, because they were down in that game. The moment he checked in, they closed it. They tied the game. He's got to start. Make Duncan Robinson your 6th man, or Vincent or Strauss, but you get more guys involved. Make him more. Make Boston pay for him playing more minutes.
Right.
Make them pay for his offensive.
Adebayo is. I'm not disagreeing with him needing to be more aggressive, but also maybe not necessarily being more aggressive, but if the team can just find a way to get him the ball more in the paint, or just however, get him a couple more shots a game or whatever, and get him some open looks if you can, the ball around, like that too. That would also work.
Yeah, but I don't want them, he's been putting up the average 10, he's been averaging, I believe 12, 13 points in the playoffs, right? That's got you to this point, right?
Yeah.
And they looked in the first half, they weren't playing with the urgency that they did in that third and fourth quarter, right? So they had the championship pedigree to explode at the half in the third quarter, get a big lead, and then hold it
and lock it down
and secure the victory. That's a championship pedigree.
Yeah.
But I think going forward for them in this series and then in the finals, because I have them going to the finals, they need more production from him. If they can get Strauss, Vincent, and these guys with 10 plus points, 15 plus points, and he adds his 16 and Jimmy has his 30, 28, they're going to be really hard to beat.
Because if Vincent does what he did last night for the rest of the series, I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, and Harrow too.
Yeah.
Now Boston on the other end, Tatum looked very fatigued after that first half. Second half he played like shit. Sorry. Yes, stars don't score 10 points. I'm still going to get on them about that if they don't advance and they don't go to the finals. Because you're the star. You're one of the faces around the league. Now you have another role star player, because he could be a number 1 on a shitty team. And that's Jaylen Brown.
Right.
Okay?
If you look at their stats, 4 guys did the scoring for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Everybody else, nothing.
I mean, they had defensive presence in that first half with their blocks and stuff like that.
But based off this, there's no way they were going to keep pace with that.
No. And Miami, like I said, they had a shitty half. They had it's game 1. It's like a boxing match. You're gonna feel each other out. They went into that half, and Eric Spoelstra had a plan. Look, we're gonna fucking explode on these motherfuckers. We're not gonna let this shit fly. Let's go out there. Let's turn up on these motherfuckers and show them what it's gonna be like this whole series. Oh yeah, you thought you had us. You thought you was gonna come out and do your thing and drop, and that shit stopped immediately. Possession 1 of the fucking third quarter.
looking at here, it's like, all right. So the biggest thing I think is like fucking Grant Williams had 27 points, Game 7 in the last series, which
Well,
which helped.
that's a defensive breakdown from fucking Milwaukee. How do you let a guy?
No, he logged 35 minutes last night and put up 7 points.
Yeah, 35 minutes. Yeah, but here's the thing, Danny. Game 7 against Milwaukee. All right, all year Williams, right? He's averaged 40% from the 3-point line and like 40 from the field, right? So that's on fucking the coach of Milwaukee. How do you let a spot up shooter like that take 17 shots?
Yeah.
Like, you have to have accountability for that they have a guy on their lineup that at any moment can come in and swap 4 threes, and that's 12 fucking points right there. So Miami knew that. And like you said, how many points? He played 35 minutes?
35 minutes.
7 points. Yeah, Miami knew what the fuck it was. Look, people forget they were the 4th best defensive team in the league, right?
That's crazy.
Miami's got a chip on their shoulder, man. And if the way they're playing, the way I see it right now, barring the future games coming up, but that game 1, if they could just repeat that, not that one quarter, but like repeat that intensity and that, like, on both sides of the court, offensively, stealing the ball, working the ball, you know what I mean? Just doing everything they did, and they extend that in a couple quarters instead of just one. It's scary for anybody who plays them.
It is, because like you were saying, if they do what they did, but like not have that explosive third quarter, and even if it's not Boston keeping pace with them, but it's Miami staying at the pace with Boston like they did in the first half, but not have the explosive third quarter, at the end, Miami still would have won.
Yeah, because the way that everybody else played.
Or, but still, it's
so the game may have been closer, but relatively...
Miami still would have won, regardless.
Yeah, because Miami just played... Miami had a shaky first half. They adjusted. Then they okay, let's execute. And they executed. So now I think going into game 2, I think they're going to try to punch Boston in the mouth that first quarter. They're going to try to lay a 10-point spot on them. And the second quarter, they're just going to try to coast with them and fill them out. Make them exert themselves more than, like, they're going to... I have a feeling, and we'll see. If I'm wrong, tweet me. I have a feeling Jaylen Brown will be the leading scorer for Boston next game, and Tatum will have 22 points or less. And they'll lose. And they'll probably get Marcus Smart back, but they're not going to get Horford back yet. Now, Horford's a big piece.
Even if they get Horford, look, I'm not saying you don't get a veteran defensive presence from Horford, but he's not going to have that one game in the last series where he put up 22 in that one game, or 19.
Yeah, or something like that. No, I think he put up 30.
So I don't really see him as a big plus moving forward if you were to get him back.
Yeah, but
Smart, yes, he was
Milwaukee wasn't a top 5 defense.
No, but still, like...
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like, the Heat are a top 5 defense. They played like a number 1 defense last night.
Right.
Especially in that third quarter. If they could play like that in multiple quarters, it's going to be fucking scary for whoever fucking wants to stand in front of them.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know? And I think if the Heat beat the Celtics in 5 games, and whoever they play in the finals... I think they're gonna already have that mentality of, like, I don't care who the fuck you are, we're gonna bulldoze you.
Well, like you said, and I agree. I have them as my team going to the NBA Finals out the East. That's not who I originally chose, but you know what? I'm a Laker fan. I'd rather see anybody other than Boston or Golden State win. I've had enough of Golden State, and I don't want Boston having a one championship advantage over the Lakers. So.
Yeah, well, that's what's fine. I understand that.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if Boston manages, because they have a really good coach, I think his name is Imo Ikabu. I don't want to mispronounce it. Pardon me. But I do recall, I think his first name is Imo. He's a great coach. Now, in the games versus Milwaukee, who was a championship team just without one of their stars, after that first game, you know, they cleaned up the fast break. You know, Boston has a problem with their fast break, right? So now going forward, if Miami can exploit that to a fucking like another factor, it's gonna even be more hard for Boston to come back and win.
Yeah, because it's like you were saying in the beginning of this, Miami's not really that fast break running team. But I mean, you got Jimmy, you got Tyler. Why can't you be that running fast break team? Why can't you
They
hit
were.
another gear and outrun Boston? And now they got to keep up with you. Now, if they got to keep up with you, they're going to break apart more.
Yeah.
Because they can't keep up.
Yeah, I agree, and they were off those steals, like Tatum's back-to-back passes where he just lollygagged him, and Jimmy was like, "Yeah, mine." You know what I mean? Slam one down, passed it to him.
He
Like,
had that block where he had that nice block in the fucking corner.
oh, on Tatum too, and was
He had a block like that in the last series. I'm like, yo, Jimmy's the man, bro. Like, yo, Jimmy's everywhere.
Yes, Jimmy does everything. Like 4 steals, 3 blocks, kept turnovers underneath 2.
And we were talking about it as the game was going on. Like, this was prior to him finishing on the 40. We're like, see, he doesn't. I said he was like, he doesn't have to fucking put up 30 or 40 if he does a little bit of everything else. He does a little bit of everything, and he gives you 40.
He basically put up like a Michael Jordan-esque game. 41, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks.
Yeah.
And 2. He had a Michael Jordan game. Now he's not Mike. I'm not saying he's Mike, but he had a Mike type of game. I don't need to have a double or triple double or anything like this. I'm gonna have defensive intensity. I'm gonna steal the ball. I'm gonna block the ball. I'm not gonna turn the ball over. I'm gonna assist when I need to. I'm gonna rebound. I'm gonna grab the boards, and I'm gonna fucking put up. I'm gonna hit my mid ranges, hit my spot up threes when I can, clog the lane, get to the line, and hit my free throws.
Yeah.
He's playing a Michael Jordan style of game.
I agree.
So let's take a 30-second break, and then we'll get back to our NBA discussion, and then we'll move on to the NFL. All right? So we'll be back in 30 seconds, folks. Big man! Alright, so we're going to have about another 10 minutes of our NBA section, and we're going to open up with some conversations that have been going on throughout the week. Number 1 is Patrick Beverly's comments about CP3. Holy shit. Now, he referred to him as a cone on defense. Like when you run like summer drills and you practicing your moves and you have to go to cone to cone to cone. When you make the move, what the cone do? Nothing. And he goes, that's what he is. Now, when you're an analyst, you're supposed to have opinions like that. But he's a guest analyst. Now, Pat ain't no Hall of Famer.
No.
Like Chris Paul is. Great tenacity at defense and heart and scrappiness in the game. You know what I mean? He's the type of player you want on your team. Now he did open up and said, we guaranteed Chris Paul's a Hall of Famer. We know this. First ballot, he's done great things. We know this. But I think people are a little bit like, how to say this? I think people are taking it to heart too much. He's talking about the Chris Paul of now. He's not talking about Chris Paul overall. You know what I mean? Right now, he's 39. He's slower. You know what I mean? Doesn't have...
36, 37.
I thought he was 39.
No, he's still, he's only like 36, 37.
Still, he's been playing for a long time.
He has.
You know what I mean? So he's slower. Doesn't have the full head of steam of gas that he wants. You know what I mean? And he's undersized. You know what I mean? Granted, his intelligence in the game, the way he moves the ball around, when teams let him, as we've seen when they played the Pelicans, and that guy Jose Alvarado when they're in their point guards, they got up on them, make him uncomfortable, and that's his thing. When he gets uncomfortable, he gets pissed off, then he starts getting texts and all this shit. He's not who he was, and I think Pat has a point. Maybe he was wailing or calling him a cone. He was a defensive player of the year a couple times.
It's like, this guy's a future Hall of Famer. You're just gonna trash him.
But now compared to the way Pat plays defense, that's why I can say I can understand it. Pat, you play defense with a different intensity that Chris Paul doesn't play with, even when he was in his prime. He was a great defender in his prime, yes, but he didn't play with that tenacity. He just played defense.
Chris Paul, Beverly. Sit the fuck down and play your game. That's what I think, honestly. I think that's an unnecessary jab at Chris Paul. Yes, he had a bad series, but the guy's a future Hall of Famer. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right. So then, can we agree to disagree that maybe he should have went about it in a different way in saying it? Maybe if he said it in a way as such, like, well, he's older now, he's lost his step, so guys aren't really too worried about playing him as opposed to be worried about playing Stephen Curry the next night or LeBron James or something like that.
I mean, yes, yeah.
So
yes, to that extent, yeah. But
so if he said it like that, we really wouldn't be upset with Beverly at all.
Yeah.
Right? We would just be like, all right, you got a point. You know what I mean? We definitely got a point. It's not like when he was in his prime, when he was with the Hornets, or then, like when he was with the Hornets, that was his prime, where he was fucking absolutely filthy.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, back then, yeah, maybe you would be worried about playing Chris Paul defensively and shit like that, because everything that he's doing, he's fast, agile, he doesn't have to dunk, he can lay it up, he can pass it, he can rebound, you know what I mean? But,
right.
Alright, yeah, so I'm not that butthurt about it. You know what I mean? Patrick, that's who Patrick Beverly is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but honestly, by the time his career is over, he won't even be happy with Chris Paul.
No, but maybe we'll be talking about him in just like a Tony Allen type of way. Tony Allen averaged like what, 15, 7 boards, like 2 or 3 assists, but he averaged like.
We'll see if we make that comparison in a few years. I'm not gonna go on.
No, I wouldn't put him above Tony Allen. I'm saying in the conversation of
maybe,
like Tony Allen.
Years, but I wouldn't even go out there and suggest something like that.
Look, if Kobe Bryant says you're the hardest defender I've ever played against, you're valid. And
yeah.
That was Tony Allen. And those Memphis teams back in the day, Connolly, Randolph, Allen, O.J. Mayo,
Not even that. Those Celtics teams too. When they played the Lakers and the Celtics in the NBA Finals.
On paper, though, I'd be more scared of the Memphis team. It was young, with kind of like, guys in their prime, right? That were still respectively young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think they were poorly coached and they didn't like maximize the talent they had there. Come on, you had Mike Conley in his prime, right? Tony Allen, edge of his prime. Zach Randolph, prime. Gasol, prime. And you have both Gasol brothers, right? At one point.
I think so.
Yeah, but I always thought the younger brother was better. I think Mark is better. I think Mark is a better overall player.
Yeah, Powell's definitely a better scorer.
Yeah, but Mark can score too.
Yes, but
But pairing him with Zach Randolph, Tony Allen, Mike Conley, OJ Mayo, and the other players they had on that team was fucking woo. Like, I couldn't understand for the life of me. Like, they went to the playoffs those years they had those teams, but how they didn't win a championship was like, it boggled my fucking mind.
They also have, what's his face? I forgot what his name was. I think he was some Serbian dude or whatever. He was
You're lagging a little bit. You gotta close down those browsers.
Yeah, I'm trying to. He was the I forgot what his name was. He was like the point guard or shooting guard, Rudy something.
Oh, Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, you go. Was that Tim too? Was that the right team? Is that?
Yeah, he played for the Timberwolves.
Okay, so yeah, so they had him too. Like,
but he had an injury. That's why they brought in Beverly. All right, so now the second rumor coming out of that, that implosion that the Suns had is they're trying to. The rumor is that they're gonna deal DeAndre Ayton. Now, for the life of me, I don't know why the fuck that would even be a thought in your mind. Now, unloading Bridges, Payne, Paul, and a couple other guys. All right, you know what I mean? Usually, like history shows us in sports, when you have a meltdown like that in any aspect or any sport, shit changes immediately. And if it doesn't, we usually see the fucking plane crash. Now, I don't want to see the Suns take that plane crash. I really don't.
No, I want to see them keep rising and win.
No, I expect with those changes they'll take a dip, but they'll still be playoff bound, right?
I definitely want to see them win a championship for sure.
Absolutely. Like, I want to see them take that dip and then ascend up. But it's got to start by getting younger, not by getting rid of one of the best centers in the league and holding on to an old point guard and a potential superstar shooting guard.
I'm not saying hold on to Chris Paul, but I mean, look, like, just for the sake of saying it and talking about it, I don't know what it would be in return, but I mean, if you're gonna get what you want in return for Ayton, and it's the right guy or the perfect package, quote unquote.
What if you get Anthony Davis and the Lakers get Ayton? Hey, Ayton stays healthy. Ayton plays.
I'm a Laker fan. I want that because Ayton's young.
Young.
I don't know as a Sun fan or as a Suns organization if I'm willing to trade Ayton, knowing what I have and knowing that I know what AD has done, but he hasn't been healthy the last 2 years.
So the Lakers in sense give you AD, a draft pick, and
what draft pick? They don't have it on. It's gonna be you're gonna give up another future draft pick? They didn't have a draft pick this year. You give them more draft picks. Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't about the fucking window, right?
Look, we talked about it last night. The GM there, he's only got a short leash, so he has to do something. He's got to make a splash. And Jeannie knows what she's doing, so maybe sacrificing one draft pick more to get a healthier guy that plays certain better aspects.
And you can build around him.
And you can build around him. Where he's already proven, look, I can play with a dominant shooting guard, right? And we move the ball, and it's like, it doesn't all have to be circled around him, but he can be used as a plus.
A vital piece.
A vital piece. Like, if he drops 23 and his 10 rebounds and his 4 assists and 2 blocks and 1 steal and 3 turnovers, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
And here's the plus about it. Yeah, Anthony Davis can score more points and do this and a little bit better and shit like that. But Aiden plays 82 fucking games. You know what I mean? And plays in the playoffs.
I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, I would love that deal as far as a Laker fan aspect, but I'm against giving up more draft capital. Like, just no.
well, you don't have like really that much. All right, so you trade Davis and Westbrook
Fine.
for Aiden and Paul.
Or not. Okay, whatever. We'll take. Fine. Okay. I'm down.
Actually, I like that move.
No draft picks included.
Just straight swap.
Yep.
So, I think the Suns would be even better off. If Anthony Davis stays healthy and Russell Westbrook can play the way he did in Washington and shit like that, like freely, you know what I mean, and have people to pass to and be aggressive and rebound and assist.
Westbrook still going to need an extension because he's technically going to be a free agent, I think.
Yeah, but that's fine. He'll take. Yeah, but he'll bet on himself, or he'll take like a short deal to a potential place to go to like win a championship.
Yeah.
Where there's young talent around you, and you getting your homie Anthony Davis. Hopefully he stays fucking healthy. Or Monty Williams is the smart enough coach to say, look, you're not playing 30 games. You're gonna play 52 games, but you're not playing 30 games. You know what? I'd rather sit you 30 games throughout the season and have you healthy for the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, it sucks that you're gonna pay him buku money, and it's got to be like that. Now maybe
it's just so fucking unfortunate. He went from being such a superstar and everything, then he comes to LA, and then he's hurt.
He hurt all the time. You know what I mean?
And that was a move I was really happy to see them make too.
Yeah, I mean it was a great move, and he wanted to go someplace else. But I bet you now he's kicking himself in the ass.
And I know the Lakers are too.
Well, no, he may not be kicking himself in the ass. I know the Lakers are. I mean,
like I said, Jerry Buss is rolling over his grave right now.
You got a cheap championship out of a shortened season and in a bubble.
I don't even consider that a championship.
See, I don't either. Like the difference, like football, I'll count that because you know what? They still traveled. Minus the fans, they still traveled. You know what I mean? And then in certain places, they had limited fans.
Yeah.
But the travel and everything is still involved. You know what I mean? And the element of COVID. So I count that more than I would count the NBA's bubble.
Or the baseballs.
Or the baseballs. You know what I mean?
I mean, baseball, yes, they still travel too, but...
Yeah, but they didn't play the full season. Football played the entire fucking season. They did makeups and everything. They played their entire season.
I mean, you gotta think, COVID or not, fucking, no matter what, like we were talking about with the strike or whatever with baseball. Nothing is gonna stop a football season from going in full effect. There's no way that ever happened.
Come on, bro. They put America on hold for COVID for the Super Bowl. They had that big Super Bowl event right after it. What happened? The nation went on shutdown a week later.
Yep.
America loves football so much that a viral disease that can kill everybody, no, gotta wait. We gotta have this fucking game. Which I'm happy about. Thanks for having that game, but I think we could have waited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or did it in an empty stadium. You still would have got the TV numbers. Yeah, fans would have been pissed, but look, it's a fucking worldwide disease where it's killing people. But no, to your point, we gonna have this season one way or another.
Yep.
Look, we'll take an L, but we're still gonna have it.
Well, we can at least let the season ticket holders come to the game and just keep them separated in sections.
Yeah, which they did.
No, it's like, yeah, go fuck yourself, all right? Like, seriously. Like, that's bullshit.
All right, let's move on to grading drafts and teams. We're moving on to the AFC South. Danny, why don't you set us off with one of your teams, which would be either...
Houston is the first team I did.
All right, so let's hear Houston, sir.
Alrighty, so with the third pick in the first round, Houston took defensive back Derek Stingley out of LSU. I didn't think he was gonna drop. I didn't think he was gonna go that high. I thought.
No, but he's a good corner.
I think honestly, I think he's the best corner in the draft. That's my opinion. They gave him a 6.5 prospect grade, which gives him the boomer bust potential. 6 foot, 190 pounds. He didn't have a 40 time because he was recovering from a foot injury at the time.
But that's fine. I mean, you know he's fast.
Yeah, he played well at LSU. Granted,
I think he's a little bit more physical than Sauce. I think he's a little bit more not lengthy, but I think he plays his body
a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, he plays more aggressive and he trusts himself a little bit more than Sauce. Where Sauce is aggressive too, but he's more of a read it. He's more of a knowledge type of guy. Where Stingley's gonna, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna manipulate your route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're trying to do that 5-yard in route. Well, guess what? You're doing a 3-yard fucking drag now, bitch.
He's going to be more like a Trayvon Diggs kind of player, where it's like he's going to take the chance and try to hit that home run, and and try to change the game and turn a game around.
Yes.
And granted, it sucks when it doesn't work, but if it works just slightly more than it doesn't work, I take it. And, he's that kind of player. I definitely think he is.
Well, I think having a player like that is great. You know what I mean? Because you have a guy who's willing to bet on himself, right? And take that chance where it's like almost like a 50-50. Look, either the quarterback's going to make that amazing throw where he just gets it over his hands or in that spot, or he's taking it to the house.
Right.
Or he's picking it. You know what I mean? So I like that pick. It's a good pick.
And so I definitely, for me, I have him on the boom side of the potential. Excuse me. Because I think this kid's the real deal. I think he's definitely a difference maker from day one. His inexperience is obviously going to show more against the elite QBs or the elite wide receivers. But I really feel by year 3, at least at the earliest, we're going to start talking about him as being one of the best DBs in the league. I really do.
Well,
I
think right now he has a favorable division to play against, quarterback-wise. Right? Matt Ryan, not going to be there long. Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill, not going to be there that long. You know what I mean?
But Houston's not really in a position to really compete. I mean, their starting quarterback going forward for this year is Davis Mills.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying he has a favorable matchup for half his season, pretty much, of playing against mediocre, talented quarterbacks.
I see what you're saying. I mean, Houston, they gave up 4,000 passing yards last year, 242 per game.
They got Stingley, but I think them losing Reed is gonna hurt too, because if they were able to get Stingley and keep Reed, you're shoring up a side of your backfield where now that 4,000 passing yards goes to 3,500.
Right. I think he'll definitely help. Like I said, he'll help the defense, and he's definitely a difference maker day one for sure.
All right. So who else did they take after that?
So with their second pick in the first round, they took offensive lineman Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M.
Good pick.
They gave him a pick. Despite I know they're rolling the dice, or they're just gonna go with Mills this year, because they'd like to compete, but.
Honestly, I think the Texans as an organization this year just didn't like the quarterback prospects.
And that's fine, because it wasn't that great to begin with. Granted, we didn't go super hard into really looking into the top 5 or top 10 guys, but you could read the little synopsis on each guy, watch a game of them, and then look at their highlights, and then watch their combine and be like,
but you could do
you can get to get a gauge on. Standpoint.
Yeah, but honestly, that's why if you guys are upset that we're not spending so much time or research into these guys is like we talked about in past episodes. College is a different game. College, you could play against Georgia, right? Where there's 7 guys, maybe not even 5 guys on each side of the ball that are gonna go pro, right?
So something like that.
Like that. But other competition, you're playing against maybe 1 guy, on the entire team that's gonna go pro.
And not even that, you gotta figure out of all the kids going into the draft every year, and out of all the kids that play excuse me, on every college team in the nation, how many of them are already actually elite, and those are the ones that are the next level superstars? How
Yeah.
many? A dozen, maybe
Yeah.
6, 5,
Out of that pool of
3.
thousands of kids.
I mean, honestly, like,
Well, the funniest thing is if you really look at the draft and the guys that become like, all right, if we look at the first 2 rounds, right, of every year's draft. Now, if you guys want to indulge and do this yourselves, go right ahead. If you look at for the past 10 years, every first and second round pick for each team, right, and then go to your undrafted picks each year, you'll probably see more undrafted picks make the team than those first and second rounders.
maybe not first or second rounders, but I feel like those undrafted guys will replace those third or fourth round guys.
Yeah, at some point. At some point. Or they'll float somewhere else and do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I think, look, when the draft started for the NFL, it was an immediate thing. They met up in a hotel somewhere and got it done in one day.
It wasn't a spectacle.
They got it done in like 1 or 2 days. It wasn't a spectacle.
Yeah.
Now, we know why it's a spectacle. It's the money. Hey, look, I don't mind.
Advertisements, marketing,
Advertising, marketing, tickets, the whole shebang.
venues, yeah.
I don't mind it, right? But this year's draft, I was upset. We're doing 1 round, 1 day. The next day, we're doing 2 and 3. Then the next 2 days, like, all right, you're stretching this thing.
Yeah.
First 3 rounds, day 1. You start the fucking draft at 4 o'clock.
Not even that. You started at like fucking 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And do it on a Sunday, a football Sunday. No. You start on Saturday. You start on Saturday, you finish Sunday. Round 1 to 3, round 4 to 6. And then you read about the compository picks fucking in the paper. Because that's the way it used to be. You didn't know who people drafted unless you got it in the paper.
Right.
Now, granted, drafting NFL people has blown up tremendously, scouting-wise, right? But, yes, scouting helps. Scouting will find you gems. Scouting will find you solid players.
You need the scout.
Yes, you need the scout, but
You can't just say, I'm going to take that guy. Well, I don't know nothing about him, but I'm taking him.
Well, yeah, but what worries me is the fact that, like, the way that Dallas drafted. All right, Ole Miss. Who does Ole Miss really play? What talent has this guy seen? Now you're going to plug him in against Ndamukong Suh? No, Ndamukong Suh?
Yeah.
Or fucking Aaron Donald? And you're okay with this? Like, I'm not saying he's not capable. I'm just using it as an example.
Right.
Right? So, yes, everybody could be excited about draft picks. Right? Like, oh, this guy's going to be something. Look, I didn't have Micah Parsons doing what he did. I didn't even have Trayvon Diggs doing what he was doing. I just thought Trayvon was a solid corner.
Right.
That's it. Solid corner, can play one-on-one, knows how to, like, use leverage, get into the right space. Because he was a wide receiver. He can read it. All right, solid pick. I didn't see him doing what he did last year. I didn't even see Micah coming even close to what he accomplished last year. So there are gems and there are busts. So
Yeah.
we're going to run through this list a little faster. Danny, who was next?
The next guy I had them taking in the second round, 5th pick, was this safety Jalen Petrie out of Baylor.
All right, so they're trying to replace Reed with him.
So that's what, when you were saying that, I'm thinking, like, I already had it in the back of my head, like, yeah, but I like the way that they've drafted, honestly. I like the direction they're going. I mean, their next pick, they took a wide receiver.
Okay, I'm not mad at that.
I'm not really a fan of it. Look, I'm not saying he can't be a decent starter in the league, but look, you have a guy you're starting at quarterback this year that's a no name. You know, you're in the process of rebuilding the team. So why not just make every pick with a purpose? Why take a receiver in the second round? Why take another lineman? Or, you know what? Fuck it. A running back.
I'll give you an answer to that right now. I'll give you an answer to that right now. And here's the answer. Here's the answer to that question right now. Since the Texans came into the league as an expansion team, right? They have had Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins and a couple other wide receivers, right? That were pretty good. So they draft fairly well at wide receiver.
Still, like, I don't find that as a good enough excuse to take a wide receiver with such high of a pick when your team is almost in full rebuild mode.
Exactly. So why not take a chance on this guy if he's not who he is?
Because there's other areas that you could address that by the time you get your starting quarterback, or by the time that fucking wide receiver is there for you to take, that is a difference maker. For the most part, your team is solidified aside from one or two free agents.
I agree with you, but maybe their board, their draft board was different, and they had him ranked higher. That's why they grabbed him. Don't want to. Yeah, but then
I get it, but I just don't see it. I really don't.
Well, we're gonna see what comes of it. We're gonna see.
Yeah, with their first pick in their first pick in the third round, they took a linebacker, Christian Harris, out of Alabama. So overall, I think I give them a B plus for their draft grade because I like what they're trying to do. But like, what makes it a B plus and not an A is taking that wide receiver in the second round.
Wow.
Because it doesn't fit for me. It's like.
All right. I mean, hey, we're all entitled to our opinion, right? And I'm not even mad at the B minus. You know what I mean?
B plus.
Oh, you gave him a B plus?
Yeah, because outside the wide receiver, I love what they're trying to do on defense. I just feel like with that second pick with the receiver, if you had taken another offensive lineman, that would have made your draft complete, despite whatever you did in the back end. See, because you got two linemen, you got a DB, you got a safety, and a linebacker. You're fucking rolling.
But think about it like this, Danny. So then, why not the wide receiver? Why not?
Because I would have liked them taking another offensive lineman. Because when they finally get their guy and they put their guy into the spot and they're like, go.
Look,
you want to have at least half of that line solidified already.
If this was a first or second round pick, right, then I'd understand your anger. For the third round to pick
it's not even anger. It's just like, what the fuck, man?
Well, all right, not anger. Like you were perplexed by it. Like to be like, what? I understand that if it was a second or first round pick, but a third round, that's not bad. You know what I mean?
Well, that was their second pick in the second round. They had a fifth. They had the 5th and 12th.
All right, so that's essentially like a third round pick. That's not bad. You know what I mean?
Like you said, we'll see how it works out.
They probably went by their board. You know what I mean?
So you seen Dr. Doolittle, right? When he almost hits the dog or whatever, right? Bonehead!
Or how about with the rats? You know CPR? No, CPR, I don't even know how to spell it. So that's it for Houston?
Yeah, that was all their picks from the first to the third round.
Alright, so I'm going to get into it. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they had 2 picks in the first round, and they had no picks in the second, and they had 2 picks in the third. So with the number one overall pick, they selected outside linebacker Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. Now, I don't know what happened between the draft and like 2 weeks, but he was projected like 4 or 5.
Something like that. But we had Jacksonville taking an offensive lineman the whole time.
Yeah.
And they go defensive side of the ball.
Which I'm not mad at, but it's like you got Trevor, right? Trevor Lawrence. Why
not take the best lineman in the draft and protect his ass?
Exactly. So Bonehead strategic wise.
It's a great pick though.
It is a great pick for your defense.
Because look at how many players came out of that Georgia team.
Yeah. Great players.
That defense was fucking stacked.
Well, see that's what I meant earlier when we were talking about like college. Like, look, Georgia, Alabama, those top 10 schools.
LSU.
They play. I know they play their division and shit like that. Their conference, but their out of conference games are top 10 teams.
Yeah. At least.
So they play top 10 talent. You know, not to mention other schools that are in their conference are top 10 teams as well.
Usually, some of them.
Usually, right? LSU, right?
Yeah.
Clemson, you know what I mean? Ohio State, you know what I mean? Auburn. These are big schools, and we know this, right? So, like, obviously, the bigger schools are going to have bigger talent, so they're going to play against bigger schools. So I trust best talent versus best talent, not some guy that's going to fucking Baylor and they're playing fucking the bottom of the barrel or mid-tier barrel of players.
Maybe not bottom of the barrel, but they're not playing the top echelon. You know, they might play one or two
top echelon teams,
or three ranked teams in the nation throughout a given year, but all their other games are going to be kind of like just regular mid-tier games.
No, I'd be like, oh, well, he finished with 225 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. All right, yeah, but who was guarding him? Fucking Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or God forbid, you know what I mean, fucking somebody you know or yourself. Think about like us, like, yeah, come on, dude.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's definitely, I agree, and it's valid, but.
Alright, so.
I don't know, I mean, guys gotta come from somewhere, though.
So their second pick in the first round with the 27th pick, they went linebacker Devin Lloyd out of Utah. Solid year. I mean, Utah, they play some competition, but it's Utah. You know what I mean? But I like the direction they're going. We're going defense. They believe in Trevor Lawrence so much and their free agency acquisitions and everything they built around him that they don't need to address the line. So it may be a mistake, it may be a thorn in their ass, right? Which, if it is, I hope they learn from next year and go offensive line. Because in round 3, with the 65th pick, they picked an offensive lineman, Luke Fortner, out of Kentucky.
So, like, that's too late to be taking an offensive lineman when you got the fucking number 1 pick as a quarterback from last year sitting there like, yo, are y'all going to protect me or what?
Where's my help?
Oh, and then you're going to get mad if I don't perform, and then you're going to want to release me when I don't do good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you. like, just the way these teams go about, like, oh, man, it's just... Not all teams do this, but like some of these teams, like fucking head scratchers.
Well, all right. So with their 70th pick in the 3rd round, they took another linebacker, Chad Muma. Hey Muma, que pasa? I'm water baby. Hey Muma, I'm saying. Sorry. Out of Wyoming, you know. Wyoming's a prominent school. They're in the mix, so I think that could be a steal in such a sense. So I gave them a B minus in all retrospect. Now I think what would have made it a B plus to an A would have been maybe the 27th pick, a lineman, then the 65th pick, a linebacker. But that's just me. So let's move on to Indianapolis for you.
Oh, I don't know. Just when you were saying that, like, just some crazy idea, like, just popped up in my head. Like, for example, like, real quick, like, for example, if you were Jackson, when you had the 1st round pick, use it, obviously. But take your 2nd, your 3rd, use those with 2 separate transactions to jump into the 1st round again with 2 other different picks. So now you have one.
Or jump back early 2nd round.
I like using them into different transactions to get you like, all right, well, now you're at 1. Okay, well, now you have 15, and then you have 21. Oh, good. You can get 3 top quality guys in the 1st round as opposed to like...
Well, I think if that was going to happen, they would have had to give up the number 1 and probably their 3rd round pick.
I wouldn't have said maybe not number 1 this year, but you might have had to sacrifice maybe it from next year, but you're kind of banking on like that not being so bad because, you know, with development, I'm just saying, like, that just clicked in my head, like, yo, that actually would have been dope if they did that.
I don't like it. I don't like. I like where they got what they got. They had 2 first rounders, which is great, right? So you sit out the second round. So basically now you're just looking at your board and just marking off who's gone and who's left.
Right.
And they had on their board these guys, and they were like, all right, well, fuck it. This is the direction we're going with our new coach. Excuse me. With Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson wants to build a defense, and he trusts Trevor Lawrence to like go through the process of year one with him.
Right.
Like I would say, just because of the fact that Urban Meyer was fired through year one, I'm not gonna chalk Trevor Lawrence's year one, but I'm gonna chalk it as in development wise. And the reason why I'll chalk it to that is because you have a college coach, first time in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Whatever he's doing, if he's got it, he's got it. If he don't, which we've seen, and that's why he was booted. So I won't count it development wise. So Doug Peterson with Carson and Nick Foles, I think the due diligence will transpire. Where they're going to rely on Trevor Lawrence's legs a little bit more this year. And they're going to see what they got, see where they finish, and then add the offensive line and more defense with trades and acquisitions and free agency in the coming years.
Right.
So that's why I gave them a B minus. All right, so let's hear Indies.
All right. So we already know they made the deal for Matt Ryan. He's their guy now. I feel like their draft is a little lackluster. I mean, they had the 21st pick in the second round. They took wide receiver Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati.
Well, you know why they had to do that, right?
Why?
Because when they traded for Carson Wentz, they had a deal in place where if Carson Wentz took a certain amount of snaps, they had to forfeit their first round pick, which he did. So that's what gave
last team of the year.
That's what gave Philly that third first round pick. So that fucked them over. So that's a mistake. So I don't expect them to go buck nutty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, they're already a solid team. Now you got Matt. You know what I mean? Matt's not on his last leg, I would say, but he's at the end of his career. But as you would say, Ben Roethlisberger, you got to respect the man's knowledge and his.
He's been to the Super Bowl, so I mean.
Yeah, and no, it's not even he's been to the Super Bowl. He's been a top 10 quarterback for a while.
A long time.
For a while, so I mean, to me, Indianapolis took a step up getting Matt Ryan.
Maybe.
All right, so who'd they draft?
With the next pick, the 9th pick in the 3rd round, they took tight end Jelani Woods out of Virginia. Like the other guy, he's projected just to be like a regular average backup with starter potential. But I think out of the guys that they took, I think this guy has the potential to really turn out to be the best one. I feel like this guy, even in year one, I'm not saying he's going to explode, but I mean, he could maybe be Matt Ryan's little safety net.
Yeah. I mean, they got what's his name, Cox, at tight end.
And a lot of these teams.
I don't know if he resigned with them or not. He was a free agent.
Who?
Cox. Their tight end last year, so he may not have resigned. So that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you give Matt's always done well with a big tight end. Gonzalez. Fuck, his name is. He doesn't play for them anymore. He played for Hooper.
Yeah, Austin Hooper.
I mean, Noah Fant. Not Noah Fant. What's his name? Kyle Pitts.
Okay, yeah,
right. You know what I mean, now, all right, we'll give you another big body to throw to. You have Austin and these other guys, which I think their best move right now, barring their draft, is you gotta get Matt. Honestly, sign Julio. Sign him.
I like that. I'm not against it. I think that's a good idea.
He has chemistry already with Matt. He has solid chemistry with Matt. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And that definitely gives him a solid number one weapon for sure.
Nah, not a number one. He's a number two now.
who's number one in Indy then?
I don't even know.
Yes.
I mean, it's not Hilton. I mean, but like last year they were a spread the ball around offense because they didn't have a Keenan Allen or somebody like that. I'm just saying for the price wise, Julio would be a good move. Or Jarvis.
Even AJ Green's not a bad move. It's not. It's a veteran receiver. It's a good presence. Like, yes, it cannot work, but hey, there's worse options.
Yeah, but there's better options than AJ fucking Green. Fuck that guy.
Like he's so you had AJ.
Every time my fantasy football drafted that cocksucker, I can't play for 4 weeks, turf toe. Put some Vaseline on that bitch and run, motherfucker. So that was it for Indy?
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Excuse me.
Yeah, we should have a cough. We should have a cough counter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They had two more guys.
I think that'd be a funny idea. A cough counter where we got to put 25 cents in a jar.
I tried to mute it, but it didn't fucking work.
Nah, you good. You good.
They took an offensive lineman, Bernard Raymond, out of Central Michigan, and
what round?
Third round, 13th pick.
All right, so most likely he's going to be a little bit of a project. They like the strengths that they have from him, you know, but he has weaknesses that they're going to have to work on.
And if Matt's going to be there for at least a year or two, and if you still plan on trying to compete for a wild card, you've got to keep him upright.
Yeah.
So I like that move.
Yeah.
And then with the 32nd pick in the third round, they took defensive back Nick Cross out of Maryland.
Well, like those picks, like I said, projects. You have some shining spots, and then you have some negative spots. So you gotta work on it. So what was the grade that you gave him?
Like I fluctuated between like a C- and a B because what they have with Matt Ryan and everything, and the running game,
and their defense and their line already, and their running game.
It's like a C- or a B. I mean,
I would go C plus the most.
It's solid depth moves.
I would go C plus the most because you know why they're already stacked.
You think so?
Yeah. They are, honestly. All right. This is why me and you had that argument about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, you think is a good quarterback. Okay. Okay quarterback. So he should have been able to get it done in the 2 years he was there. Not to go Super Bowl, but next step.
At least.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't do that. Matt, on the other hand, is not going to make a stupid decision like Carson, right? And they have a good line where they can keep him upright. And he has a run game like he's never seen before. And the only time he's seen a run game like that was when he went to the Super Bowl with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman.
It's nothing against Taylor, but you know how I feel about him. You know that bet we made.
Oh yeah, you gonna pay up, motherfucker, and they know that too. These people know it. They know it.
We'll see.
All right, so I got Tennessee, round 1, pick 18, Treylon Burks. Great pick considering that they traded A.J. Brown, right? So they basically like replaced him. If Treylon Burks can,
one of the top receivers in the draft.
If Treylon Burks can be A.J. Brown, right? Then it worked out perfectly. Now,
maybe.
Round 2, pick number 35, they took my boy, cornerback Roger McCreary, out of Auburn.
Okay.
And I think he's gonna be absolutely fucking filthy.
You think he's gonna be better than Stanley?
No, he'll be up there with them. Like he's gonna be that corner that you gonna mention. Like, yo, you know that Stingley and Sauce were taken before him. Be one of those.
And he's one of the ones of the next generation of DBs to come into the league.
Then the third round with pick number 69, they took offensive tackle Nicholas Petit Frere. A hell of a name. So obviously they're gonna try to work with him, see if they can plug him in day one or work. And then round 3, pick number 86, they took Malik Willis, which I like.
Yeah, I mean,
The Tannehill era.
A later round pick and you're not investing a first or a second round pick on him. Yeah,
But I like that pick to invest. Like Tannehill's not gonna be there forever, and it seems like just saying Tannehill's not gonna take you to that next step. Like everything's got to go right, like everything. Not one thing can go wrong, and you can get there. But I think they're thinking in terms of future, where they're gonna get past Derrick Henry, and they've already moved on with these younger guys. So could they win this division again? Yes. Are they a bit weaker? Yes. But I think they still are favorable to win the division. So I gave them a B plus with the draft. Because barring if Tannehill gets hurt, Malik Willis can come in there and his athletic ability and learn and light it up. But if Tannehill stays healthy, I like the Treylon Burks, wide receiver pick. I like McCreary, and I like that offensive tackle. So they replaced and addressed what they needed to. So that's why I gave them a B plus.
This is they definitely it was definitely solid draft for them from at least within those first couple rounds.
Yeah. Anything past that, like we said, that's you're flipping a coin.
Practice squad, depth picks. You know.
Like it's not even you're flipping a coin, you're flipping 2 coins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the odds just went from 50-50 to 25, you know what I mean?
Right.
Now we had some news this week as in terms of football. Next year, Monday night, will feature a flex schedule for the last, I think, 4 to 5 weeks. So whoever's in contention will be moved to Monday night. And then they're adding 3 weeks of doubleheaders, with the first week of Monday Night Football being a doubleheader. They're going to have 2 more doubleheaders.
Yeah, week 2 is a doubleheader.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Minnesota Philly has the second game. I think the first game is Tennessee or Buffalo or
I'm surprised at that. I thought they were gonna go week 1, right? Then week 7, and then like week 13, week 14.
Well, yeah, or you do week 1, then you do like week 8 or 9, and you do the last week of the season.
No, you don't do the last week of the season. That's outrageous. You do that week 14.
Well, why not do it last week of the season? And what if that doubleheader is 4 teams that are in contention?
Yeah, but that's
those are 2 games that you definitely would want to watch.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's less rest. It's more on the players. Look, Danny, they already extended the season 1 game and have kept them at the same pay rate. You start adding in that week 17. People are going to be arguing for a slight pay raise, and that's just football. You know them.
Well, I mean, they should be getting paid a little bit more regardless. But
look, that's another story. But that's just another reason for them to go, I want more money. You know what I mean? And we're in a good place in football right now is in terms of the player union. So I don't want to fuck with that.
You think they're in a good place? Or
I think they're in
or it's just because no one is saying nothing, and the only people that are saying something is fucking retired players. Well, but who's really listening to them? Not a whole lot of people.
Yeah, you got a point. But I do like that. I'm kind of upset that week 2 they're doing it though. I would really like week 1, week 7, week 14. Because you know how they're gonna flex the last 4 weeks of the season, so they can have 2 scheduled games that are like non-relative, and replace them with a doubleheader that means something.
Yeah.
Right. So that's week 14. There's 3 weeks left to be played. It's not that extraneous on the players, especially like you're trying to make a playoff push. You got to play on a Monday.
You don't want nothing else interfering with that and adding double headers and then changing times and all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you keep it that first week, week 6, week 1. Yeah, I mean, I've always thought they should have had a doubleheader every Monday.
I mean, I always did enjoy the doubleheader Monday nights. You know.
I love it. Because it's like you go from the first Thursday game is how they kick off the season. So you got football on a Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Friday, you're covering that game or you're looking at that game. Saturday, now you're lining up all the games for 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Sunday, booms, you got fucking massive games. Launch from 1 to 8. Monday comes, oh shit, there's 2 fucking games. Let's fucking go. And guess what? I only got to wait 2 more days until another game.
Yeah.
Like, I think football's killing it in that aspect. Like, if they added Saturday games, 1 Saturday game a week or 2 Saturday games a week, oh my god. The money that they would boom.
I mean, just think about it. Most people are off on a Saturday anyway, too, just like Sunday, you know? Alright. But see, then you're interfering with college football, though.
Fuck college football.
No, people like to watch college football.
Okay,
That's
alright.
why, that's why college football is Saturday and the NFL has Sunday.
Yeah, but college football is massive amounts of games. I'm talking about 2 games, a 4 o'clock game and an 8 o'clock game.
Or just one primetime game, a 7:30, 8 o'clock game.
Alright, so 1 primetime game. So you have Thursday, then Saturday, then Sunday the mass amounts, right? And then Monday a doubleheader. Every Monday.
I like that. I'm not against it.
Because they already do it for baseball. Like, think about it. Like, people get out of work in New York City. They're like, oh, well, I'm getting out of work. Where you going? I'm going to the ball game.
It starts in an hour and a half. I already got my ticket. I just got to
get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why not, like, the doubleheader for Monday? Why not, hey, fucking, I'm getting out of work at 4. The game don't start till 4:30. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the next game starts about 8. Which I like. That late game has to be a West Coast game, though. If you're
gonna do, like, if they think that it's like, oh well, how many people are actually gonna sit there and watch it because it's like a 4 o'clock, dude, you'll be fucking surprised. Throw a football game on a day where there's no football. Guarantee you people are watching the game.
Exactly, it's the NFL.
As long as it's a decent enough matchup, yeah, people are definitely watching.
See, like if the NFL did like a theme to their schedules, and this is my opinion, like, so the Saturday games, right, would be rivalry Saturdays. So every Saturday you're gonna have a rivalry game, like Jags and fucking New England, or Giants Cowboys, Minnesota Green Bay. Like, you're gonna have grudge matches, like rivalry matches on Saturdays. Yeah. So it's like Thursday is your big matchup, like out of conference games. Like out of conference games, like the Rams versus the Broncos, right? Out of conference. Saturday, your grudge match, right? Sunday, your filler games with your grudge matches, whatever it is. Monday you got double headers. You know what I mean? So teams are getting a little bit more rest on Mondays because then they don't play till like Sunday afternoon. But they get the extra week.
And it's the same thing with Saturday. Okay, well, all right, well, we're playing Saturday, but then we don't play till next Sunday.
Yeah, or you can actually rotate them to play a Thursday game, and then they don't play till next Sunday, or a Monday night game. So it's
so there's ways to rotate it where
players are getting rest. Yeah. It's favorable for them, and then you're adding in the international games. So the NFL is doing a lot, and they could do a lot more. Which I like that they're expanding into that. I like that.
But I just feel like with all this, eventually it's like, it would just be nice to see these guys get paid a little bit more money. Like,
yeah, and especially
at some point, come on, man, y'all gotta open up your pockets more and really guarantee these players money, because you have a higher risk of getting hurt out there and
your body's taking more of a pound.
Or life-threatening injury as opposed to baseball. Like, yeah, you can get hit in the face with a baseball, or you can tear an ACL, but like, if you get hit in a certain way in football, like,
that's a wrap.
Say somehow you get flipped up in the air and you come down on your neck and your spine snaps. You're done.
Yeah, or Ryan Shazier from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He tucked his head on one tackle and fucking caused a spinal injury. Like,
so
football, and we talked about it, football has to be the highest paid sport like baseball has to take a backseat. I'm sorry, the
Well, even if it's
basketball
not the highest paid, like they absolutely have to have free healthcare or like absolute best stuff.
or lifetime health care where
Yeah, like
a portion
something.
out of their
Benefits
check.
to your family, if, like.
Yeah, where a portion comes out of their check to like
But
cover the
not even a
insurance.
portion comes out of their check. The team just takes care of it. Like I get it that those are big bills, but it's like, you know, if we're saying that now and we're looking at guys, all right, well, not too many guys are really having those kind of injuries, so it's like it's not going to affect them. But it's there in the event something happens.
I understand that and I like that, but I think what's gonna cause the ruckus or that to fall through is like look at Ben Simmons, right? So now you gotta pay his medical bills and his salary, and the cocksucker has like a backache.
Well, they'll obviously it has to be levels and stipulations to it, but like there should be more like benefits and stuff for a family to be taken care of and shit like that.
Yeah.
And maybe I over extenuated what it should be, but like there should obviously definitely be more like for them.
Well, see, like I've told you before, like go watch that show Ballers, and you'll understand why I love
I'm
it.
gonna check that out when I finish the Lakers series.
And what we're talking about right now, right? So it's got to be on the player union first. They have to address it, right? Then it has to go to the owners, right? And you got to get them on board, right? And once you get them on board, then you can work out a system where even if it's like, look, they're not working with paychecks like we are, our mass of people and us. Like, our paycheck isn't $150,000 every Saturday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So instead of getting $150,000, you get 120. 20 goes to the medical insurance, and 10 goes to like a private reserve for your family if anything should happen to you.
Yeah.
So your family has been taken care of. You know what I mean? And then
it's
that
like
gives
their version of a 401k kind of thing.
yeah, in such kind of way. And then like they'll be like, all right, Sean Taylor, right? He died, so they didn't have to pay out the rest of that salary,
Right.
but they did. But now that, like, say if Sean Taylor had a life insurance plan through the NFL and a 401k plan, his family would be set for life, and then they would honor it and they would look good. We're just gonna pay you the salary of the contract.
Right.
No bonuses, but just give you base value of it.
Right.
So it looks like the NFL is actually behind their players in their league.
And they should be.
They should.
I mean, like, damn, like, yeah, I get it, like, you're asking these guys to go out there and put their lives on the line, but still, like.
Now, granted, you like either you were born into a situation or you built yourself into a situation where you were able to acquire a team. Good for you. I mean, you did good yourself in your own life, but like in the Lakers show when they talk about where the secretary comes to him and she's like, look, these are depreciating assets.
Yeah.
So you can pay them and get taxes on them by the contract's construction, right? So basically, essentially, every player is a dollar value at fresh, a big value, and then depreciates. Right? So that's why every year we're like, oh, Bobby Wagner wants this much money, or this guy wants this much money, and he doesn't get signed. Because everybody knows that dollar value has sank. Which, in a business point of view, 100% makes sense, and that's the way it should be. But we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing with products.
Well,
so that's
what products. They're the ones out there producing the touchdowns and the passes.
But they're the product that they sell to us.
What?
They're the product that they sell to us.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be taken care of like a. I don't want to be an asshole in how I say it or the analogy that I say that. Like like a warranty on a car. You know what I mean? So the car should get its value. But if something should go wrong, there is an insurance policy for the owner and the car.
like whenever you buy the car, usually depending on whatever the issue is, you're covered up to about X amount of miles with, or X amount of years or months, whatever comes first, kind of thing. You know, and you're covered on certain things. But if it's something outside that, well, then it
Now,
can
granted,
cost.
if say if you had just paid DeAndre Hopkins, right, that money, right, and
Okay.
he gets suspended for PEDs, this should invoke that contract right of, all right, you don't get paid, you violated rules, okay, but now, say you didn't violate the rules, week one you tore your ACL, I still have to pay you, but out of your checks still comes the insurance and the 401k, no matter what, right? And if now this will make injuries a little bit different, where teams will actually exercise the right to, like, look, every doctor says you're playable, right? But you don't feel comfortable. Well, all right, I get to exercise my right, as in I've had you cleared by every doctor, and you tell me no. Well, I don't have to pay you, or I don't have to pay you fully, like a
I pay you
warranty.
X amount, X percentage amount.
Exactly. I'll invoke this part of the contract where I only have to pay you 20%,
Or 30 or
or
whatever it is.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
for week by week. You still get paid. You know
Just
what I
not the
mean?
whole amount.
You're not getting the whole amount because that's not fair to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's still business oriented where everybody gains and everybody loses at the same rate.
But nobody's totally fucked.
Yes, absolutely. Nobody's totally fucked, and especially the players.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get paid. You may get paid at a certain rate because you refuse to play, right? But you're still getting money into your 401k and still an insurance plan. You know what I mean? That covers you.
Right.
You can't cover your whole family. You know what I mean? Your family's not out here taking fucking Ray Lewis hits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
Alright, we're gonna take a 30-second break, Danny.
Something like that.
And we'll be back and we'll launch it with Hate It or Love It.
Okay.
Okay. staying patient with us. Keep your arms and ears and hands inside the vehicle at all times while you ride this ride. Or you'll get fucked. No.
All aboard.
All aboard. Alright, so Danny, it's hate it or love it time.
Word.
Set us off there, buddy.
Alright. Sorry, one.
Somebody's eating fucking cashews over here.
No, we got a piece of chocolate with caramel.
Chocolate?
Yep.
Chocolate?
So, I know he didn't win the MVP, but hate it or love it, Luka is better than Jokic. Because I definitely think he is. That's just my opinion. Like, I like Jokic. It's not against him. I'm not trying to, like, steal away his MVP, but I like watching Luka. It's just, for me, it's just a better fit for me. It's just my preference.
Alright, look, I'm not mad that Jokic won the MVP. I preferred Embiid. I thought Embiid did more for his team than Jokic, just respectively. Statistic-wise, though, Jokic has done something nobody's ever done before.
And that is?
I think it's at the aspect of scoring like 2,000 points and like 1,000 rebounds or something like that.
Oh, like, okay, like, really? Yeah.
Like in a season. So, like, barring if he didn't have that, I could see Embiid or Luka. Now, I'm going to hate it. And the reason why I'm going to hate it is, yes, Luka can score, you know, in bunches, right? But Jokic, alright, Jokic won't be able to score as much as him in retrospect, but he'll have more of a hand on the game.
In the offense,
in the offense, with rebounds, assists, you know what I mean? So I hate it. Sorry.
No problem.
Alright, hate it or love it, Danny. Tyrod Taylor gets the nod over Daniel Jones after week 4.
I like it.
No.
I mean, I get, this is, but Daniel Jones was supposed to be your guy, but this is quote unquote is probably going to be his last shot.
Unless he puts up an ultimate season.
Yeah, to try to keep his job and stay with the Giants and get a new contract after this year, which I just don't see it happening. And like I said, I love it. And honestly, watch that happen, and Tyrod keeps him in the hunt for a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
Like,
but yeah, no.
I'm not a hater of Danny Jones. Now, granted, he hasn't had a line at all, and now finally they've did their due diligence of like building him some sort of a line. Right. So, barring out how this season goes, if he does well and his numbers jump and everything jumps up and the bad things go down, the fumbles, the interceptions and shit like that.
Right.
I wouldn't be opposed to a 1 to 2 year deal after that. But I think with the draft picks and their free agency moves, I think it's a big chance. And that's why I pose this question. I think Tyrod is gonna take the job away from him by week 4 or after.
Okay, do you think this becomes his team for a few years?
No.
Until the Giants find that guy and they work on rebuilding that line and building that team. Because if Tyrod is serviceable as they rebuild that team, why couldn't they, at least ride him for a year or two and just, while we rebuild the team? And then when they finally get their guy, or if someone's it doesn't sound. I'd rather see them do that than do what they've been doing. I tell you that. And I'm not even a Giant fan, and I don't even watch their games. But I've seen enough to know.
See, I wouldn't hate it.
It's a murder
I
scene.
like it. 1 to 2 years. That's it. Tyrod. That's all you get. And they get to like build their team in other aspects, and then when they're ready to make that step to
Yep.
take a quarterback, they'll do it.
Or
So
sign one, depending on,
what's going on? But I
or
love
maybe
it.
trade for Baker kind of thing, or
I don't. Honestly, I think if the Giants were that desperate, that move would have been done already.
well, maybe, yeah, but maybe they kind of actually want to see what Daniel Jones has before they actually pull the trigger, and they're like, all right, well, when we pull the trigger, he's definitely gone, but is he being released? Are we making a trade for this guy?
No,
Or
no. This is the end of his contract year, so he'll be a free agent.
right.
So I think going into it, Daniel Jones has to know that this is all or nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, I think they can afford to wait the year out, just like you would say, like, all right, well, if the Giants were desperate, they would have done it. Well, maybe if Cleveland wasn't so gung ho on keeping Baker, they would have definitely unloaded him after they traded for fucking Deshaun. I mean, I get it, you want to have someone as a backup because you don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun, but I mean, that's assets that you could be bringing in. You know,
Yeah.
you go sign a veteran quarterback or somebody else, and then fucking trade him for assets. You know, it just
I don't disagree. I mean, I'm not saying the Baker Mayfield, excuse me, TNT, the Baker Mayfield deal is out of, you know, pocket for them. No, it's in the realm for them. Um, I just don't see the Giants doing it.
me.
The,
You know, I'm
the
just
Giants have never been a team to go like they've done it before, but it wasn't a permanent thing. It's not like all right, we traded or signed the guy we wanted, and now we go from here. They were more of a draft first
yeah.
team, so I don't see that. But I was high on Danny Jones, man, in the beginning. And granted, he didn't have a line, and Saquon couldn't stay fucking healthy, and they really didn't have the best of weapons in retrospect. But I think his tenure there after this year, barring any type of year he has come to a close. You know, I think Danny. Sorry, I'm not saying you. I know your name's Danny, but I think Danny Jones in that aspect, he is. You're a back. You're a backup, though. You're a Mike Glennon. It sucks. Hey, at least you made it there. You know you did what you did. The circumstances weren't right. You can always say that. That'll be a fact. But just this overall
You being a starter is not going to happen.
it's not gonna happen unless he goes out this year and wows.
I wouldn't say wow. But I mean, it just looks good. Doesn't make the mistakes that he's been making. Looks more efficient. Reads defense is better.
But I'm talking about like 35 plus 100 yards, 23 plus touchdowns, and minus 12 interceptions.
I was thinking more like just 3,000 yards.
Nah, you see that's just a bare minimum to like argue for your job for another year, right?
No, maybe
You go out there, you put up 3,700 yards, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, right?
even if he goes out there and puts up fucking 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a 65 completion percentage.
but that's oh shit. Look,
Honestly, I would take that, and honestly, depending on how the next year, I'd give you a 1 year deal. Like, you know what? Granted, your whole stay hasn't been good. You know, you showed enough and improvements enough. I'd give you a 1 year deal, but I'm bringing somebody in that's going to compete with you.
yeah.
Not a guarantee, but I can give you a 1 year deal to see if you can build off of what you did last year.
Well, see that's why I asked the question, is because if it reaches that point where Tyrod has to take over, and depending on how Tyrod does, like say he comes in week 6, right, and throws for 2,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Hey, maybe we can sit on him for a year, build more, then get the guy.
Maybe.
But either way, direction it's gonna go, which I'm hoping for the Giants. I can't believe I'm saying this as a Cowboy fan. I hope it breaks even for them, whichever way it breaks. Like either Danny Jones has a solid year and they just decide 1 year deal, then you're done, or we let you go, or Tyrod takes the reins, and Tyrod leads the team for a year or two, and then they move on.
Yeah. I think he's done regardless, though. He's gonna have a shitty year. It's
Alright. So what's your third hater to love it?
Well, this is my second. Because I did my first.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I apologize.
James, hater to love it. James Harden's career is over.
I hate it. The reason why I hate it is because he's still going to find a job. Now, granted, because he's attached to this contract, whoever takes him is going to have to, like, just... You're going to have to put a knuckle in your ass and take it and pay that money. Now, granted, if no team does that, Philly, you might as well just pay him for whatever the extension is and then opt out when you can or try to trade him. But his career isn't over. Is it on its decline? 100% yes. There's no doubt about it.
I don't know, he looks done.
He looks done as a star.
Doesn't not shooting the ball, doesn't seem to have any effort out there, just...
Well...
Defense is suspect.
But I think... Alright, remember how my dad always told us players always play better in a contract year so they can get that money?
Right.
This essentially for him is a contract year. This year coming up. So I expect... Now, I could be wrong. But I'm expecting some form of Harden of the old to reappear. Now, this year, like I said, like prior to the other years with the Nets, this year he came in out of shape, overweight, not really having the attitude, you know what I mean? The whole Kyrie situation and Durant being hurt, like he's like... And now I'm empathizing. I don't agree, but I'm just empathizing. Like, I'm not trying to be out here 40 minutes a game for 82 games busting my ass while I get no help.
Right.
Like, send me somewhere where I can at least be competitive. You know what I mean? But the fact that he came in out of shape, overweight, not giving a fuck, it played a toll. So now next year being a contract year in such a way, I think he'll show up and show out for the majority of the season.
Even if that happens, how old is he going to be? 33, 34 years old?
Yeah, so probably most likely Philly's going to cut ties.
And so what, if you do that, you're going to be asking for a 3 or 4 year deal? After the last 2-3 years of the way your career has gone, granted with what you've done, you're out of your fucking mind. There's no way, me as an organization, am I even going after a guy like you? Or give you anywhere close to what you're asking for.
Yeah, but we've seen organizations dumber than most.
No, I get it, but I would definitely be one of the ones that are definitely not doing it.
But from this perspective, we're going to see what type of organization Philly really is. Right? After AI, they had a rough patch. Right? They had Iguodala, which was a good draft pick. Iguodala was a star there for a little bit. They were able to trade him, get some other pieces, and start building. And they gave their notice to Philly, you know, that memo, hey, you know, we're gonna suck, but we're gonna be back, we're gonna build. This is the crucial moment, the climax of the 76ers history right here as we're talking about it right now. If they keep, which we're believing they're gonna keep Doc Rivers, right?
Okay.
And they keep Harden. Okay. And it doesn't go the way we'd hope or should go. They're both going to be out on their ass in about 2 to 3 years. And Philly... No, 2 to 3 years. Just listen. 2 to 3 years. Right? Because that's when the contract will be over for the both of them. They'll be out on their ass. And Embiid will be on his almost, decline. They'll try to move him. They'll move him, and they'll be in a complete reset.
Why not get that reset now?
Because it's not time. And the reason why I said this is why we're gonna see who the Phillies really are as an organization.
But I feel like you started now in a sense you can get a little bit more in return.
And be a little bit more
and
ahead.
Maybe if you do that, then maybe by doing that, by starting early, you progress a little
Yeah, but Danny, here's the thing: they memoed their fans.
Well, things change. It can, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Danny, when you and this is Philly we're talking about. When you memo your fans and say, hey, look, we're going through a process. We'll be back soon enough, and you get back, right, to competing every year, right? You can't just restart and be like, yeah, we're trading everybody, because then the city's gonna be like, yo, you just conned us. You didn't give a shit, right? So either they're gonna win in the next 2 to 3 years, right, or be competitive as the Eastern Conference Finals maybe 2 or 3 years in a row. But if they don't, then Philly's gonna have a hard reset.
Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying.
That's just the fact of it. No matter what.
I just personally feel like I'd like to see them do it earlier, but I get it, you know.
Now if later was like earlier, now if like we were 2 or 3 years already ahead, and we came up with like, you know, this was the same situation. You know what I mean? Then okay, start the process. Send Embiid somewhere, send Tobias, keep a player or two, and restart the whole process.
Yeah.
You know? But I think if they were to trade Embiid and Harden and like another player, right, a package deal or whatever the fuck it is, Philly's gonna lose their shit.
So they're gonna turn their city upside down again.
Yeah,
This time they didn't even win nothing.
Exactly, and Philly doesn't have much to celebrate. Their biggest aspect is fucking baseball.
No, I said honestly for Philly. Oh no, yeah, no, I was thinking of a different. I was thinking of somewhere else. Yeah, either baseball or the Flyers.
Yeah, okay. You know, maybe they're competitive, but like they haven't won a championship in a
I
while.
think they're in the playoffs this year.
All right. So whose turn is it? My turn or your turn?
Mine. No, wait, no. I just asked you James Harden, so your turn.
All right. Hate it or love it, the Yankees will hit a big slump in June.
I like it. I love it. You know, I feel every team is definitely due for a slump, so it's just a matter of time.
All right. Before we do that, let's look up their schedule.
You know, but I mean, very few times do you see a team run away with it from day one and just hold the throne all the way through and then they win it. Doesn't happen like that all the time with teams. You know, there's most of the time they always definitely go through their fair share.
All right. So May 31st, they start a series against the Angels.
Yeah.
All right. A 3-game set. Then they play the Tigers a 3-game set. Then the Twins a 3-game set. Then the Cubs a 3-game set. Then the Rays a 3-game set. Then the Blue Jays a 3-game set. Then the Rays again. Then the Astros for a 4-game set. And then the Athletics to end the month.
That's a very, very, very competitive month.
That's a rough month.
It kind of evens out in such a way towards the end because you know you end up playing Oakland. But
yeah, but then right after Oakland, they play the Astros for 1 game. Then they move on to Cleveland. Well, no, all right. Then Pittsburgh for 2 games, and then the Red Sox 4 games. Then the Reds, then the Red Sox again. Then the Houston, then Baltimore, then the Mets. So like these next 2 months are pivotal for the Yankees. Now I've been down on them. They've been playing great. I'm not gonna deny it.
Maybe the highest team in baseball over the last.
No, I won't go that far. That's the New York Mets. That's the no, look, Danny. Let's look at it like how we always look at it. How much do you spend? How much do you spend? Who do you have? Who do you have?
So.
No, bullshit. And don't no. This is the fucking. Are you fucking kidding me? You're a Met fan. I'm a Rockies fan, and I gotta tell you that you're the hottest team in baseball. That's ridiculous. That's what, and you won't even defend it. You just no. Hold the fuck up. As a Yankee fan, on camera, Right, not a Yankee fan, a Met fan. Right now, on camera, you just went to defend the Yankees over the Mets.
I only said that they were the hottest team in baseball right now. I didn't say that they were the better team. I only said that they were hotter because over the last couple of weeks they actually had like a 7 or 8 game or like a 10 game win streak or whatever. Yes, the Mets have been playing very well and are one of the best teams in baseball. But
I think the Mets have played a harder schedule.
I have to look at what the Yankees played from the start of the season to now to say that. But I mean, the Mets have definitely a lot of in-division games. The games they've played against the Phillies have been good games. I mean, they've done their thing against Washington. They split that series with Atlanta. I mean, they did their thing in St. Louis in the beginning of the season, but now they're playing St. Louis this week, and this so far it's been a good series so far.
All right, this is what I'll say about the Yankees, and this is why I believe the slump will come in June. It's a hard schedule. They have some flux. Detroit, Orioles in there, so that those are 6 games they can honestly win, right? But the rest of those games are very difficult, right? And they've been hitting the ball extremely well. I like what Aaron Boone is doing with his rest system, where it's like he's getting the analytics on who needs to take a rest, and he gives guys days off. I like that. I honestly do. That's a belief in your team that not a lot of managers would have.
Right.
To give your star the day before yesterday the day off, right? Then the next day he comes out off of a rest and hits 2 home runs.
You
can't argue with that system. Now they're playing great defense. They're pitching very well. Now pitching we know is fluxes, and so do bats.
We know they're a good team. We went over their record. We know they're definitely. Look, I'm a Mets fan, but they are a very good team year in year out. But they just haven't won diddly dick in a long time.
Exactly.
2 championships in 22 years.
At your pedigree, yeah, it doesn't cut it. You should have had 5 on the board already.
At least.
Aiming at your 6th. You know what I mean, for this year. And the way they're playing, I understand about being a Yankee fan and being excited, right? I just think this month of June that's coming up is a hard month. Now July cakes out a little bit for you.
Same thing for the Mets. They got a tough schedule coming up too. So
I just want to see how long the Yankees can sustain this home run hitting thing that they have going, because they're hitting home runs, right? And they're hitting base hits too.
Eventually they're going to hit a power surge and they're going to fizz out for a little while.
They're going to fizz out. Somebody's going to go into a slump. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's going to be judged like we talked about. Contract year, baby.
Yeah.
He's on pace to hit 62 home runs. No way he's hitting 50.
Well, I just seen a tweet the other day, fucking Stanton and Judge are both on pace to hit 50, and it was like, will they hit 50? And I'm like,
no. It'll be Judge at 43 and Stanton at 39.
No, I think Stanton's gonna hit 40. I think Judge is gonna finish at 30 plus.
Oh, so you have the reverse.
Stanton will definitely hit 40. At least I feel like 41, 42.
All right, so basically you love the idea that the Yankees are gonna hit this rut.
Yeah, definitely.
They're gonna hit a skid. I'm not saying a full-on collapse,
but
I think this is gonna open. June is gonna open a window for the Rays.
Yes.
To slide in there.
Because they're only 3.5, 4 back, so it's it's still very close.
Well, let me take a look real quick.
Yeah, I was just looking at it.
They're 4.5.
See, so yeah.
Yeah, so a rough patch can have Tampa slide in there, and then the rest of the division is going to catch their wind.
Dude, that 4.5 can become 1.5 within 1 week.
Exactly. All right, so you're up.
All right, so I read this the other day. It was an article I read. Lawsuit. I don't know how it's really going to work out, but from what I read, there's a lawsuit. There was a civil suit where the lawsuit demands that the Jets and Giants remove New York from their team names. And we've talked about this before, just at times in the past.
Yeah, I love it. Now, here's the thing. New York has been there for a long. The New York Giants have been there for a long time.
Well, they've both been playing there since '76.
In Jersey.
Yeah.
New York Giants were there originally, and they played in the Bronx, in Yankee Stadium, and they played there for a while. You know what I mean? So, if anybody should have to change their name first, I think it should be the Jets. But I don't think it's gonna work like that. The reason why I say I don't think it's gonna work like that, the Jets have been lobbying to get a stadium in Manhattan forever, and eventually that deal is gonna fall through.
Right, like the Brooklyn Nets eventually got their stadium.
Yeah, like that was literally because Brooklyn needs something. Like they hadn't had something since what? The Dodgers.
Yeah, but I mean, not every team has to have a fucking sports franchise. I mean, come on.
No, but that was Jay-Z's original vision. I'm gonna buy the Nets. I'm gonna bring them to Brooklyn, and you know that other Russian guy or Polish guy that bought the team, like that was their contingency. Like we're moving the team from New Jersey to Brooklyn. That was,
right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, props to Jay-Z for doing that, and then selling his portion of the team, and then opening his own fucking sports agency. Smart as hell. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
You may not love it though. Did you say you don't see it necessarily going that way? But is it something like?
No, I love it. I would love to see the New York Jets play out of Manhattan, right, and then the New Jersey Giants play out of the Meadowlands.
Right.
I think that would even bolster more of New York and New Jersey solidifying who they're going to be fans of.
Right.
You know what I mean? So New Jersey would definitely solidify around the Giants.
Definitely.
Right? And New York would embrace the Jets. And they're on the come up.
Okay, so alright, so we know the Jets is the New York Jets, right? But it's like when it comes to the Giants, they're known as the New York Football Giants. So ultimately, when it comes down to this, if this does happen, what fan base do you think is going to be hurt more? So if they have to lose their name, and it's not the New York Giants and the New York Jets, or the New Jersey Giants, what fan base do you see being more upset by the outcome at the end of the day with this?
Well, the way I see it, to be honest, is the way I like it. The way I seen it, as in the Giants turn to New Jersey and New York stays New York because they moved to Manhattan. I think it hurts the Giants more because they played from the Bronx. They were in New York. You know what I mean? They are the true New York team, the first New York football team.
Right.
So that's my thought. Now it could reverse, where the Giants can lobby. They could probably lobby more to get their own stadium in fucking Manhattan than the Jets can.
And keep them in New Jersey.
Yeah, and keep the Jets in New Jersey. I mean, because the Jets were an expansion team. They were the Titans before the Titans.
Right.
They were the New York Titans. Then they became the New York Jets. So, but they did play out of New York too, but it's a finicky thing. Who gets seniority in that situation? What prospers? I mean, but whichever way it prospers, I think the Giant fans will hurt more because it's like now we got to be New Jersey, and the people that live in Manhattan and all over New York, and be like, oh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? We were New York first. We were here first. You know what I mean?
Right.
But hey, you changed the name, and guess what? In 2 or 3 years, they win a fucking Super Bowl. Everybody fucking forgets.
Real fast.
Where people were like, diehard dumb Giant fans, like, I'm moving to Jersey. Right by the stadium, 20 minutes away.
Yeah. I think it's definitely going to be interesting how this unfolds for sure.
All right, Danny, hate it or love it. Luka Doncic averages lower than 25 points in this series versus Golden State.
I hate it. I really think he's going to dominate. I really think.
Well, what are you thinking? What are you thinking per night then? Pick a number and just say above it.
Closer to 27, 28.
So, all right, so we'll just say 28.
Yeah.
So 28 plus a night.
Yeah.
All right.
No, like I said, like I was saying before, they're gonna ride this momentum rolling into the series, and I really hope Dallas advances because
Well,
I have Miami and Dallas in the NBA Finals.
before
So
we move on to this big boom of a hater to love it, all I have to say about it is if he averages below 25 and the other guys don't step up and cover his ass,
it's a bad day.
It's gonna be a bad series.
Yeah,
Cause then people like people's view of Luka is gonna change. Like, oh yeah, you dominated those first 2 rounds because motherfuckers let you. Now that they play defense on you, you kind of like fucking, you did a Jason Tatum.
right.
All right, Danny. This is for our fans and this is for the show. Just
Let me give you my last hate or love before you start this.
okay.
Hate or love it, the draft lottery. I think that the worst team should get the number one pick. Like, I know they talk about tanking and whatnot, but like, what's the point of being the worst team if you don't get the first pick? Now you're running the risk of picking fifth or sixth. Now maybe the one or two guys you were potentially looking at are not there. Now, how far does that set your franchise back now?
All right, look. I love it because it can be tweaked. It can be made better, that system. You know, instead of going like, backwards from 4 to 1. You know what I mean? And then there's certain balls, there's certain percentages. You know what I mean? It should be laid out better. If you still want to do the lottery system, that's okay. But I think the system needs to be changed slightly. Worst team, like if we're just doing a lottery system, right, of the first 4 picks, right, then that's all that needs to be in there. Well, no, the first 4 picks. All right, no, hold on. So the first 4 picks, they get 5 balls apiece, right?
Okay.
And then the rest of the teams get 2 balls apiece. Spin it like that. You know what I mean? So where it's like, look, it stops choking. I mean, it stops like, not choking, I apologize. It stops tanking and just lobbying to try to like, lottery that first pick. Where it's actually like, look, we sucked. Yeah, I did lobby to kind of tank a little bit at the end of the season, right? But I just wanted those percentages. Doesn't mean you're necessarily gonna get the first, second, or third pick. You know what I mean? But you'll at a point with percentage wise, you're gonna be there by the ball ratio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's 3. All right. So how many teams were there? 16 teams.
14.
14. So outside of the top 4, right? Every team gets a ball, not 2. They get 1 ball. So 5 through 14 gets 1 ball, right?
Okay.
And 1 through 4 gets 5 balls each. Because then it's fair. One team could have tanked more than the other. One team wasn't trying to tank. No, but you all get 5 balls.
Okay, well then if you're doing that, then I think there needs to be like, all right, for example, with the Lakers, they made that trade with the Pelicans where as if they ended up having to give up the first round pick, but they only had to give it up where if the pick was in the top 10. I feel as though, and I get.
Well, then actually that worked.
Well, see, but here's what I'm saying. Like, I get why you make that trade, why you you bank on that, but I feel like, okay, if you want to trade your first round pick, you can, but depending on how your year goes, if your pick ends up within that top 10, you can't. It's yours. Like it needs to be protected because you need to have some kind of security net.
Well, see, then keep the top 4, but you're guaranteed a pick in the top 10. Like, so, like, you know how Oklahoma City has, 2 picks?
Right.
That's another ball. So, like, when you acquire a pick, like, you have the opportunity to set yourself up in a way like the NFL does, right? Where you can trade a bunch of players and shit like that and retain draft picks and all these draft picks and then, like, you chain them together within 3 years, right? So, in the NBA, a lottery system, say you traded and you got three balls, right? So now that year you may not be the worst team, right? But you're in that bracket of 14, but you know you have 4 balls in the mix.
Right.
So then that can make it more competitive, where people will actually trade to accumulate balls. Like, all right, after being the shittiest, all right, the 5th worst team down to 14 gets 1 ball. But you can trade to acquire more balls. Like Oklahoma City, you had 2 picks. They acquired that.
Right.
Right? So they get they get the 2nd round pick and they get the 12th. Like, they set themselves up for that. But if they tweak that system, that could be even more influential. And I think after the first round, everybody else like once you do that lottery of the 14,
Right.
after the first round, everybody it goes in order again, and everybody else gets a pick too.
Or what about the top 14 teams get a pick on the first round, but the teams that make but everybody else that makes the playoffs, or I don't know. We were talking about it the other day off the air where it was
But I think you're thinking too much into it. The way I just said is simple. First round is for the 14 teams each year. But all right. So from 5 to 14, they get 1 ball in this lottery, right? So they get a first round draft pick no matter what. But they can lobby to potentially get a first round pick, or a second, or third, or fourth,
yeah.
right?
Well, there's only 2 rounds, but what about this? What about the 14 teams, like you said, picking every year in the first round, but everybody else doesn't get to pick in the first round? And then in the second round, you just reverse it. The teams that didn't pick in the first round, they all get to go first, and the teams that picked in the first round, they pick last.
See, I'm not biased to that. I like that, but I think for the sake of it, of building the league from bottom tier up, you got to stick with, Magic first round, first pick, those 14 teams next round, Magic first round pick, and then the rest of the league, right? And then that's it. That's done. But I think increasing, whichever way they want to work it, but I think those bottom tier 4 teams each get a higher percentage than the rest of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's fair in that aspect. Like, yo, we're giving you 5 out of 14. Like we're giving you odds on this, and the odds are in your favor.
Right.
But there's 2 or 3 other teams that have the same odds, that did just as shitty or slightly better or slightly worse than you. So it's all fair and fair. Even if you tank, you still have a risk.
Right.
Or if you're just trying to build organically and naturally, it'll come. But I do think you should be able to trade your percentages, each ball. I mean, so each let's just say those 4 teams. Let's see, so 4 is 10%. Rest.
Well, the top 4 teams they each have a 14% chance to get the number 1 pick.
All right, so here's the way you do it. The top 4 worst teams get 10 balls, right? Each. The rest of the teams get 6 balls, right? And you can trade, right? So this is fair. It's working on a percentage of 100%, and you roll that bitch and you pull it out,
Right.
and that's how it goes. Once that's done, it follows suit. 2 rounds, 3 rounds, you're done.
Right.
So the top 4 teams have an advantage of a 40% chance, right? Because they have 4 more balls.
Yeah.
Right, 10 balls each. So what would it be? Oklahoma City, Orlando Magic.
Hold on.
What are those teams?
Magic, Thunder, Rockets, Kings.
Right? So they all have 10 balls. Right? And the rest of them. Now, Oklahoma City was able to add another ball in. So they have 11.
Yeah, they have 2 and 11. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No,
So
they're at 12. They're 2
yeah.
and 12.
So basically, they have a chance to capture 2 top 4 picks. Right? With an extra ball. Extra percentage.
Right.
So that means you would create such a fucking stir of like, yo, we traded these picks and we got these guys, we did decent, but in this year's lottery, everybody else got 10 balls and we got 15.
Yeah.
So it's like you telling me I can draw the first pick, right, and then the second pick, and then potentially the third, off percentage wise, and it's all fair and fair. It's a lottery. I think that would bring more excitement if they could work a system like that, where you can trade, you know, your percentage of picks in the lottery.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lottery is what? Numbers, right? So basically, replacing the number with emblems, but it's all still numbers.
Right.
All right, so we'll move on to our big hate it or love it for this week, and that is hate it or love it, LeBron James. Danny, if you'd be much obliged, and open us up.
I hate it. I mean,
Well,
when he
tell me
originally,
why you truly hate it.
well, when he originally came to the league, I was fine. Like, I liked him in Cleveland, everything, hometown, all that. Didn't like the spectacle when he left to Miami. And then just from there, I just never been a fan of him. I could just never wipe my hands clean just, I don't know, just, and, and then what really makes it worse is the fact that he went to the Lakers. And that decision, along with other decisions, have fucked the Lakers at the moment. They don't have a first round pick this year.
All right, so that's a outside factor that which I didn't account for. You know what I mean? Him playing for the Lakers. You know what I mean? I like if he was playing for like fucking.
If he was still in Miami or if he was somewhere else,
or Cleveland.
Yeah, I would still hate it, but it wouldn't be as much hate. Because now you go to the Lakers, and you give us a weak fake ass championship in the bubble that I don't even like. I don't even qualify as a championship in my book.
Yeah, that's not an NBA championship.
And then because the decisions that need to be made, and want to bring other guys in, and whatever, and fucking, and then you end up not having any picks in this year's draft, and it's like.
All right, so you have logic behind your argument, 100%. You're a Laker fan.
Killed that franchise.
You know what I mean? You killed the franchise by your personal suggestion moves and whatever the franchise did to accommodate that.
And now Genie's got to resurrect it somehow.
Yeah. For me, look, I love it. I love LeBron James. Right? I love what he's doing at his age and how long he's played and how effective he's been since day one, right? And then grew and grew. Now I have, as you would call, sad points or like what the fuck moments or the whole spectacle of I'm going to Miami, South Beach, and then the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, right? Now, he's been humbled, so this is why I love it, right? You go to do all that, you go to the finals the first year, and Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Kidd pull it out from underneath you, right?
That was awesome.
Exactly. Now the next year, you win it against Oklahoma City, a young team that's not ready. You do whatever, you lose the mind, whatever. And you go back to Cleveland, which I can respect.
So again, they had they played the Spurs too
Well,
in the final. I think.
yeah, they beat the Spurs the Spurs at an old age team. I mean, but Popovich had them popping.
Still, that was a great series.
It was. You know what I mean? And let's not forget in Miami that the first win to get there was Ray Allen who saved them. Without Ray Allen, they don't get there.
Yeah.
LeBron put up 2 bricks. No, Bosh put up a brick, then LeBron put up a brick. Then they got the rebound pass to fucking Allen.
Ray saved them in the corner.
And what have we been saying since for like the past 10 years now? Stephen Curry's surpassed, Ray Allen in, points and 3-pointers, but we know who the OG is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you were picking somebody to shoot a corner 3,
game on the line,
or a 3 in general, game on the line.
Ray Allen's one of the guys you pick.
No, honestly, like that's my pick. That's my pick. Down by 2, corner 3, 7 seconds left. Or anywhere. He don't miss. He don't miss. Like that whole Snoop Dogg meme, like, that motherfucker don't miss.
Right.
He don't. Now, like, to the point of LeBron, like, to go back to Cleveland, all right, you want to mend fences. And you did. You had Kyrie. You won a championship. You beat a great team in Golden State. You know what I mean? Props to you. Now you want to leave?
He did go to like 6 or 7 straight NBA finals. Or whatever it was.
Yeah, but at that point, dude, just stay where you're from, man. Become the legend that you are.
Finish in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls didn't fucking, Bulls fan didn't hate fucking Jordan for coming back and playing with the Magic. They were just like, awesome, we get to see fucking Jordan again.
Right.
While we fucking suck ass. You know what I mean? Cleveland fans, I think, would appreciate that more. Like that wound of him, I'm going to South Beach and talking all that shit and doing what he did. I think minus the Laker thing, I would love it fully. You know what I mean? You did right, LeBron. You know what I mean? In a sports realm way. And mind you, all these decisions when he was young, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but the move to LA, if he goes on to another team, then my love it goes to hate it. You're doing too much. You're doing way too much.
I'll just ultimately feel better once he's gone. Just
hopefully you come up with something.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're moving into into a different segment. We're gonna try this one. We want you guys to comment on the Twitter. Let us know what you want from this segment. And this segment's called Top 5 Dead or Alive, right? And we're doing quarterbacks for the NFL. Okay, this is our top 5 dead or alive. You guys can submit your own to the D&D Sportcast page. We could bring it up. We could talk about it. Who has the best top 5 dead or alive? But we want to do different positions, different sports. So let us know. So I'm gonna lead it off, Danny. And number 1, I have Tom Brady. Sorry, just got to be there. It has to. It does.
Yeah.
It does. You know what I mean? Number 2, I had the OG Peyton Manning. Number 3, I had Joe Montana. Number 4, Roger Staubach. May argue me on that, but it's the Hail Mary God right there. And then number 5, this is going to be controversial. A lot of people are not going to like this, but me personally, this is why he's on my top 5 dead or alive, is George Blanda. He played for the Raiders. He was a quarterback, and he played till he was like 45, 46, I believe. And he was the quarterback and the place kicker. he still to this day has the record for most points in a month by a player. So check yourself at the door before you question me. Danny, it's on you. Dead or alive?
Top 5. Alright, so the first 3 are the same guys as you. I just have them in a different order. Joe Montana is number 1 for me. Tom Brady is number 2.
So now, why would Joe? All right, so Joe Montana would be number 1 for you because he went undefeated in the Super Bowl.
No, but honestly, it's like
You're an asshole. I just gave you the perfect out. I gave you the perfect out so you didn't seem like a douchebag hater. I gave you the perfect out. I gave you the perfect out. I said, yo, so you mean like Joe was undefeated, Tom had like 2-3 losses?
No. It's just because of how long that whole dynasty and that whole thing ran off, eventually it's like it's like what they say, eventually you stick around long enough, you live long enough, whatever, you become the villain or some shit.
Yeah, but see, that's the difference.
That's
Tom Brady. Tom Brady became the villain as soon as he stepped in the league.
Yeah, but in the beginning, the first 2 or 3, I didn't care. I didn't mind. Dope. But as that kept dragging on, then the going for the perfection and all that, I'm just like, yo, like I can't stand this.
Yeah, but he came up short.
It still is just, I'm like, no, like. So, and because, honestly, I seen that documentary thing about Joe Montana on, I think it was Peacock or Amazon or whatever it was, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching that, and then, like you said, with the undefeated in the Super Bowl, but just, like, I'm watching that and I'm like, yo, Joe Montana would have been fucking awesome to watch back then. Like, just the way,
Jerry Rice.
Always the constant battle, always having to really compete, no one ever really believing in him, and then, well, you throw him in a game, he fucking wins you a championship. Oh, well, he doesn't start next year. Midway through you start him, he brings you to the I related to that better, like that, like, I would have definitely enjoyed watching that growing up if I was.
I'm gonna tell you this: who is ever watching, if you're gonna watch, I'm gonna clip it myself because what you just said was essentially Tom Brady's story. Drafted 155th. Doesn't look good combine wise. Nobody believes in him, but once he steps on the field, he wins.
Yeah, but once he stepped on the field and he started, he was never not the starter ever again unless he got hurt or he was suspended.
So was Tom Brady.
No, I'm saying that with Brady, once he started, unless he was hurt or he got suspended, he straight played. With Montana, he wasn't always the guaranteed starter year in and year out. And then competing with Steve Young at the end of his career.
Yeah, but then he went to Kansas City. He almost got Kansas City a Super Bowl, but he fell short.
Hate me, like me, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but Tom did that and won.
I'm just not putting Tom on.
Alright, fine. Fuck you then.
Hate me, love me, I don't give a shit. Tweet me, debate me, I don't give a fuck.
Alright, so who you got at number 4 and 5?
Number 3, well, 3's obviously Peyton Manning. 4, Terry Bradshaw. And 5, Dan Marino.
Alright, I'm not mad at that. Alright, so we're going to move on to the MLB standings. Danny, you going to launch us into that?
Yes, sir.
Alright, I'll be right back.
So there's games going on at the moment, but currently, as we sit here now, in the American League Central, the Twins, they're 22-16. They're in first. They have a 3-game lead over the Chicago White Sox. The Yankees are in first in the American League East. They're 27-9. They have a 5-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. In the American League West, the Astros are in first. They're 24-14. They have a half-game lead on the Angels. The National League, the Brewers are in first in the National League Central. They're 24-14. They have a 3-game lead over the Cardinals. In the East, the Mets are in first. They're 24-14. They have a 6-game lead over the Marlins. And in the National League West, the Dodgers are in first. They're 25-12. They have a game and a half lead over the Padres.
All right.
So for the most part, I mean, aside from like I said, I know I did pick Atlanta to be in first in this division. You know, even though I didn't expect them to win the World Series again because it's hard for teams to repeat in baseball. But you know, and granted, it's still early. We did see how far the Mets got last year before they lost first place. So I'm just gonna wait on this before I really start talking. Like, let's just see how that rides. The Dodgers. Yeah, I predicted they'd be in first for the most part, but the Padres and Giants would definitely be there.
Well, I still ultimately believe Tampa Bay is going to take the East. And the West, I mean, Houston is already in the driver's seat. I mean,
they're only a half game up.
But can LA, all right, barring a trade right now with their lineup, keep pace with Houston? Dude, they already had it. Like,
if they're healthy.
If they're healthy, but they already had a lead on them, and it was erased within like weeks.
So, still, we'll see. We'll see where they are.
And in the AL Central, fucking I mean Minnesota. We were looking at them in high regard, and they're playing like it. I mean, Chicago
is. White Sox again, because I just felt like that young team was going to be able to do it.
No, but they're coming into their own. They're fine. They're on their 18-18. They're 500. They're only, like 2.5 out?
Yeah. No,
being 2.5 out right now out of 36 games is not bad.
No, but I honestly didn't really see Minnesota there. I kind of saw Minnesota at 2 or 3.
I mean, we both. I picked the White Sox. But we talked about it. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota was ready already.
Yeah. I mean, they're young too. I mean, they definitely sustained some injuries last year, but so that's why I had a bigger question mark going into this year, and then to see how early on the White Sox had sustained some injuries, but I don't know. I don't know who they were. I don't know if who's back and who's not. But I mean, looking at them being 3 out and they're 18-18, it doesn't look like it's.
No. We're gonna see what type of team they're at by 70 games.
Right around the All-Star break.
We're gonna find out who they are. Now Minnesota, we're gonna find out also who they are. Now they're starting off hot within like the first 37, 38 games, which is like everything we're talking about, and like you acknowledge. And when we talk about it, is young. There's crucial months in baseball, and what we've noticed is June, August, and then late September, early October.
Yeah, July's kind of that up in the air month because the trade deadline is looming, and the trade deadline is now I think August 1st. I think.
And then August is like. For me, it's like almost like a cruise mode for the league. Everybody like plays favorable matchups, so where there's a possibility of going 500 or plus.
Certain teams might be in kind of that cruise mode, like we got a 12-game lead. All right, we don't have to play spectacular, but if we play 500 the rest of the way, we should be fine.
Well, I'm talking about like almost like a wild card team, Danny. Like
that's gonna be more. It's gonna be.
Yeah, but it's
you really have to keep the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like August and July are your like cruise modes where teams like kind of like cruise through it and try to like break 500 almost, right? That's like the minimum goal. Break 500 or break a little bit ahead, and then September.
Team, they want to try to get back to 500 and finish.
Exactly.
So it's better than they started.
So that's like 2 months of baseball that are coasting. But I know, like, what we're talking about the first 2 months. The first 2 months are vital. Those first 40 to 50 games are vital. The next 50, is a crunch. Like that's vital. The next 30 is a coast almost. The 40 is a coast. The last 20 to 30 games, that's a crunch. Like you're going for the gusto.
Right.
So I think for like the Mets right now, like the lead they have, I think they need to build. Right? They need to build. And the larger they build it, the longer it goes on by like those coast months. If you can reach July, right, coasting at like a 5 to 6 game lead and make a trade to help you, whatever it is, right? You guys should keep pace.
Right.
You'll have your dips, but you'll keep pace. For the Yankees, I don't know if a trade looms in their future. I don't think it does the way they play. I think they're gonna just double
I
down.
think they'll be looking for more pitching for sure.
Possibly that, but nothing like drastic. You know what I mean? Nothing out of the wall.
I don't know, honestly. I think depending on where they're at, they might be looking to add another starter, another top tier starter. But, I mean, look, you have a good offense, but you're going to need pitching is what's going to keep you alive.
Especially if your bats go stagnant.
Yes.
So all right, I
100%.
can agree with that, but they need to.
And you can't hurt with too much pitching.
Yes, but all right. The reason why I said earlier why the Mets are better than the Yankees and hotter than the Yankees and just a better team. The Yankees are working with big hitters, right? You guys have big hitters in respect to Mets, but you guys play better ball. From what I've seen and from what you've seen, the Mets cold-heartedly has been playing better baseball. Batting wise, maybe not so much the pitching wise, but pitching good enough to where your offense can sustain.
I mean, yes, the Yankees have a better record, but it doesn't,
I don't care about that better record, and that better record is like about a game or a game and a half.
Well, they're currently 27-9. The Mets are 24-14. So.
Well, also we have to talk about this. The AL, the American League, is stronger than the National League, especially with the universal DH now. You know what I mean? Like, you guys in your division is more. The next 30 games for that division is crucial. We're going to see who is who in the NL East, right? In the West, we know who already is going to be there. It's going to be the Dodgers, Padres, and San Francisco, right? Central, it's either going to be Milwaukee or St. Louis. Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, they don't got it. We already know this.
Yeah.
Right? So now the AL, it's the AL East is basically your chunk of playoff teams, right? So the AL West, it's either going to be LA or Houston. Most likely Houston, right? The AL Central, Minnesota or Chicago, right? So either one of those teams, right?
Yeah.
Do those teams compete with what the East has in terms of record-wise and wild card-wise?
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a fun race coming down the stretch run at the end of the season for sure. I think it's definitely going to be really competitive. Definitely. Very exciting. And playoff baseball in September, baseball is always more fun than regular season like this.
Oh, yeah. Well, like this next month is going to be crucial for the whole entire league. Like, literally, the entire league.
Not the entire league, but like certain teams.
No. This entire month, like the month of June, rolling into the first week of July, is going to be so vital to what we're looking at as in standings. Like, we're going to see, like, everything's almost like middle-wise. We can see, like, Washington at 12 and 26, right? And Cincinnati at 10 and 26, right? We know that they're out, right?
That's why I say the next 30 games for them doesn't even matter.
Exactly, but Atlanta, Miami, Philly.
That's what I'm saying. Certain teams, other teams, it don't even matter. Count them out, right?
Yeah, but bulk of the league, this next 30 to 40 games matters the most.
Half.
No, we're gonna see, like, out of these next 40 games, we're gonna see who's gonna be in contention and who's not.
Because you got to figure take take two teams out of each division. So that's 2, 4, 6. That's 12 teams. You know, so let's make it 16 because wild card or whatever.
Okay.
So 16 out of the 30 teams in baseball for the next 30 days, their schedule, their games are going to be
Most
the
vital.
most important. Yes.
We're gonna see who's a real contender and who's not. Who just had a good start or who had a bad start. Like, that's what's gonna break down for this schedule.
Yeah. I agree.
Alright, now we're gonna move on to a little bit of baseball news as concerned to the New York Yankees pitcher Nestor Cortez for his racial slurs 10 years ago in tweets. Nothing demoralizing or racist driven, but used out of context and inappropriately.
Yeah.
Now it's funny that it comes out when he's absolutely shitting on the league. You know, this is what we have to deal with in sports nowadays. This is why I wish people would look at sports from our angle. Look, we're going to give you the stats, and we're going to give you what we think about your play. What you do outside of what you do professionally is none of our fucking business.
Yep.
And we'll be the first ones to tell you how you
Now,
treat your
we're not
family.
saying we doing some crazy shit. But
No, but that's none of our business.
Yep.
It's none of our business. And it'll always and forever be none of our fucking business. And we'll stay true to that forever, no matter what. And I guarantee you we'll be the only ones in this fucking clog of a machine that's going around us that'll stick to it. I'm more concerned about how you play on the field than what you do in your personal time, because that's your personal time. It's called personal for a reason. If you don't understand that and you're a fucking dickhead and you get what you deserve, it's not my fucking problem.
Like, and it wasn't even serious. Like, he was talking amongst his friends or whatever. Like, and that was years ago.
Exactly.
Like,
and the world was different then than it is now. And we're not the same people we were 10 years ago than anybody was.
You really have the time, like, the person that did this, like, you really have the time to sit there and go that far back into this person's life and this, like, how, why, like it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's stupid. Like what does this guy somehow do to you for you to warrant you now to dig deep into his life 10 years ago on Twitter and find that tweet?
No, like, his goal was reached as soon as he went and looked for it. Like, we know that, Danny. He may have came out with his, like, 30 followers and be like, this is not my intention, but hey, take a look at this. Come on, dog. You know what you were doing. And we don't even really touch things like this. If you've noticed, if you listen to our show, we don't touch these political shit things, and we're just gonna touch it for a quick minute, like we just did, and that's it. Look, he did what he did.
That's it.
Now he shouldn't lose his career, but maybe he should shut his fucking mouth. That's all on him. Okay, that's his mistake for sharing a portion of his life with society and thinking it wasn't gonna catch up. That's the only thing we can fault him for. Okay?
Right.
So, people like younger kids that are listening or anybody listening, keep your mouth shut. In that retrospect, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Unless you're going to say it in a nice, friendly way, like, you're a fucking suck-ass player.
Unless you're really going to unveil some, like, really, like, interesting shit.
Yeah, but that's not our MO. We don't do that.
No, I get it, but, like, unless, like, someone's gonna, like, release, like, some interesting shit, like, really? Like, oh, what up, my nigga? Like, really? Like, oh, yeah, alright. So, what, now, I just said that, now what, are you gonna fucking, like, what, in 10 years, someone's gonna go back and look at this and be like, oh, look,
or you're gonna try to cancel us now? We're not using it in the context of that. And we don't even say that word. We're saying on his behalf of what he said.
It's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Like, this is why we curse, and this is why the way we are. We're going to keep it honest with you. Look, if athletically we think you're not doing your job and you suck, we're going to call you out on it. We're not going to call you out on your character or your personality. We don't fucking know you.
Right.
So now, whatever the media reports, we give everybody the same fair chance as we do everybody else. I mean, we don't know. And we probably will never know. Unless we got to sit down with one of these people. Now, if that was the case, then maybe we can learn a little bit. Other than that, we're here to cover sports. Not food, not politics, not behavior. Stats. Stats, games, opinions, sports.
Yeah.
If you want to go listen to the Big Head Olive guy on fucking 98.7 in New Jersey at ESPN Radio at 4 to 7 with his fucking bald ass friend and the only knowledgeable guy named fucking Donald. Oh shit. Go ahead. You'll find out where to go have a flea market. You'll find out where to go get a hot dog, but you won't know what the fuck is going on. Oh, by the way, you'll get to talk to Aaron Boone every fucking Thursday at 5, and he'll tell you the fucking same shit any manager would tell you. Yeah, the guys look good. Are they mad when I arrest them? Yeah, they're a little pissed, but, you know, we're good. Playing defense, stealing, hating. Like, I don't need Aaron. We don't need Aaron Boone here, or fucking Big Head K, or fucking bald George Costanza, fucking Rosenberg.
I mean, look, you can bring in these guys, but like, you know, you said every Thursday at 5. Like, really, why every Thursday at 5? Like,
no, it's not every Thursday. It's every Monday through Friday, from 3 to 7. You know what I mean? But they barely talk about sports. Like, they talk about points that are relevant, like the hot points, right?
Yeah.
Other shows get in depth. We get in depth. So, you may not like us. Hey, we really don't give a shit. But if you want to watch, watch. Don't.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. We're not changing who we are. We're not talking about all the bullshit. You know what I mean? Nestor Cortez, that's his situation. How he handles it and what goes on further, that's on him.
Yep.
We're here to cover sports. Okay?
Absolutely.
So if another fucking O.J. Simpson pops up, don't come in the chat or don't come on live. Be like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't think shit. Moving on.
How did he do last year? How many touchdowns did he have?
And we'll be moving on till next week. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys coming out, listening to us. We appreciate the few viewers popping in. Hope you guys pop in more. We'll be doing more things. We will see you next week. Have a good weekend. It's been real. It's been fun. But it has been real fun.